activity on my lives that I've been doing about these issues, and I promise probably gonna be like my last one in a while. It's not gonna keep making. I think everything's political right now, you know? I'm gonna be doing so much gardening content. It's still gonna involve political things. So I uploaded a video. Thank you if you're one of the people that watched. 10 people that watched it. It has I didn't put one in the title yet. I'm gonna find it like maybe I'll put it like episode one. I'm gonna try to make it a part of a series that I do once or twice a month that is involving the things that are currently going on and affecting us that I feel are a sign of the times. And I've always said this from the beginning. I think that this is a controlled demolition of sorts. The way that our country was, our national debt was spiraling out of control. I watched a YouTuber on here, Pinball Prepper. He's this guy in Tennessee, and this was years ago. He was talking about the national debt every day. He would do videos daily. I think he still does, really, almost. And it was just insane when you saw at the rate it was growing, our national debt. And I know it can be argued that when the Federal Reserve was made, I always forget the years, at 1913, something like that. That's when things really took a turn for the worse. But I feel like, oh gosh. There's so much to be said about, everything going on right now, and I feel like when the Patriot Act was first made, I don't know exactly what year that was either, I'm sorry, it was after 9/11. I read about it when I was in my early 20s, and people said then that's a very slow erosion of our rights, and this is the beginning of a surveillance state. Donnie, excuse me. Jesus loves you, thank you for spreading his message. Well, thank you, Donnie, that's nice. I'll always take a Jesus loves you, you know? Especially in these times. And earlier, oh, Keith joined as a member. Thank you so much, Keith. I did two members only lives tonight because I'm trying to make more content for members. So thank you for joining. That's always appreciated. I tried to do a premiere earlier tonight that didn't work out either. That was such a bummer because I like to do premieres because there's a live chat in the premiere. And anyways, um, I really appreciate that, Keith. Hi, Gino. How are you doing? So let me see. I know I've been talking about the same shit for a while now, but it was interesting to me the back and forths I had today, which like I'm completely fine with people having different opinions. And it really made me see how some people, like, no matter what, they're not going to see Epstein for what he is. I don't know exactly what has to happen. He's a convicted criminal. I don't know his exact charges. It was like having raping underage girls, right? Like basically a convicted pedophile. He definitely like somebody is commenting on my shorts that I made of him that this is no proof. It's just pictures with blacked out boxes. And I'm like, there's so much proof. Nobody said anything. What do you mean? Victims have been coming out since 1996. With some written books about it. I don't understand how people like they have to be trying not to see it. He was literally convicted and put in prison for it like twice, right? Am I crazy? Am I the crazy one here? I mean, the reason I made that shorts, and yeah, it is my opinion. I'm allowed to do that. It's YouTube. I'm not saying anything 100% for certain, but I do really think that his youngest victim was younger than 14 years old. In the official DOJ report, it says that his youngest victims were 14 years old. And that was my whole point with the Conspiracy Files is a YouTube channel who's made several long videos about the most recent Epstein leak, at least two. And there's so many pictures that are clearly, children under 14 years old. Some of them look like they're asleep, or what I hope is them peacefully sleeping. It's so creepy. You can just tell by their body language that they're unconscious. Okay. And it's like besides him, I was just thinking, why isn't everybody talking about this? Like, in my opinion, I do think that more people should be. Um, I know that's probably gonna like ruffle some feathers. More people should be protesting that than the ICE stuff. Although I'm glad that there are people out there. with the shit I've seen ICE doing, and you can watch a video if you can think outside of ICE is great, and I see they're literally detaining legal residents. This happened to a New York City council member, and it happened to a woman who's been here since she was 11 years old and was from Ireland. And that was simply because of a morality clause. They said, you had two misdemeanors from 10 years ago. We're going to possibly deport you back to Ireland. So these are the things that made me think MVP, it's part of the leaks. Like I said, see what I mean? Why are you looking at pics of exploited kids? Somebody has to see, is this really as bad as like, of course people are going to look for it. And people like you're the kind of person that's like, you're the pervert for seeing it that way. And it's not going to work anymore. Too many people are too woke up to the actual pedophiles to do that. No one is talking about it because he's dead and no victims or witnesses are coming forward. Oh, it's you. No witnesses or victims are coming forward. Yes, they are, and they have, and some have already gotten settlements because of it. And the creepiest thing about it is just because he dead doesn't just because he died doesn't mean everything is dead with him. There probably are still people that have the most money in the world, the most elite people, and yeah, it's far more than Trump. Clinton, Bill Clinton, so many people implicated that that is what, and I heard this theory that people said that they might implement an AI government. When people really find out how corrupt the government really is, then they're going to step in and say, okay, there's too many people that are so messed up. And now we need to have this AI, which is never going to be really, independent of and not as unbiased, I should say, as they would hope. Entering the USA illegally is illegal. Okay, Christina, are you saying that to what I said about them detaining legal residents? One was a New York City council member who is here on a worker's visa until October of this year and had a court hearing, and he did the right thing by going to court like a legal immigrant would, right? And he got detained. And now people can't get a hold of him. And the New York City council member said, I am a person that governs a body. She said it like that. I know it just sounded kind of funny to me. I couldn't get a hold of him. And I work for the government, but I couldn't reach the detention facilities. The line was disconnected and it's just awful. I don't agree with that or the woman. And then somebody said, well, the Irish woman should have had citizenship by now. Well, I'm sure she would have went through the trouble of getting citizenship if she knew this was going to happen because green cards can mean permanent residency. You just have to get them renewed every 10 years. And it costs upwards of $50,000 to become a full-on US citizen. So perhaps they were never able to do that. Um, oh, thank you, PB. That's so nice. Thank you for the 9.99. I really appreciate that. Welcome. Why are you saying here we go again? You don't have to be here. Unless somebody is making you watch this live stream. I just love it when people say stuff like that. You only make yourself look silly. It's like when somebody complains about their spouse, I don't think bad things about their spouse, unless they really are like truly abusive or something. They're just in there complaining and complaining. It's like you only make yourself look bad because why would you be married to somebody that you hate so much? You know what I mean? My bad, not Malcolm in the Middle. It's a chick from Everybody Loves Raymond. Say less. Are you talking about me? If you're talking about Deborah, I wish. I think she's pretty. Mohammed, I just joined your channel. What's your main content? Oh, Mohammed, I talk about political and social issues as well as gardening up in Kentucky, which I know isn't great. Like I should be more focused on one or the other, but I intend on like sharing more of Kentucky with you guys, and I do garden a lot. And I think that it's important to be as self-sustainable as possible now with everything going on. And gardening just it doesn't mean food only, it's also textiles for decor and so many things. And I love growing everything. I love food and flowers. Your beautiful green eyes are a little greener today. Oh, Bennett, that's such a nice comment. Thank you. Thank you for all the nice comments. Came into the US correctly and you won't have problems. Alfie, are you listening or did you not hear? They're detaining legal residents that did come in correctly, thought they were doing everything to maintain their status and didn't, let it default or anything. They're doing the right things, taking the right steps, and it's still, I believe with all my heart, they're doing this because they're trying to stoke fear in all of us. They know it's only so long until they're not going to be able to siphon anything there's not going to be anything left to siphon off of us. We're going to be creating uprisings in the streets because we're all so fed up with the wage stagnation on top of the inflation. And in a way to try to stop that or make us more fearful of doing that, they're going to already have implemented martial law everywhere because of all this crazy, chaotic shit. And detaining doesn't mean convicting, dummy. You don't have to call anybody names. She was detained for 5 fucking months. She's like in her 50s or 60s or something. That would be really hard on somebody any age, but the older you get, only harder. I really empathize with that. She was detained in a detention facility for 5 months because she wrote a few bad checks that gave her two misdemeanors 10 years ago. I'm sure a lot of us have similar backgrounds. I personally don't have any convictions. I've never had a misdemeanor or anything, but I was open about the fact that, like, yeah, I've been in trouble with the law a little bit. I'm sure a lot of us have. And like the fact that they're looking through, I feel like, in my opinion, they probably have quotas they need to meet. It doesn't make sense to me that they're like looking through the files trying to find people that have been here 40 years that then their status is good, but they're going to find a way to nitpick at it. Oh, a morality clause. This is crazy shit. A morality clause because they thought she wasn't moral enough. And people in Trump's administration, I'm sorry, but if you are going to judge anybody's morality at the same time supporting Trump, which I supported him for years too, so I'm not saying you're a horrible person. I understand the reasons why people support him because I've been on the other side. I used to too. I used to appreciate his crassness because I looked at him as an honest a-hole, not a lying nice guy. And I thought he would be different and drain the swamp and shit. And we have no idea the guy that was detained in New York City Council. I don't know if they've gotten a hold of him. I didn't look for an update, honestly, because that was just yesterday. They had did the press conference. Um, just because you're here the rat way doesn't mean you're not doing the wrong thing. It really no, it really is interesting. It's like a social experiment. It really shows how people will do mental gymnastics. And I saw people on the left do it for Biden in like his child sniffing ways. Remember how there used to be a lot more videos of Biden sniffing children, and they scrubbed a lot of them off the internet around the time he started running. And like all of us that weren't super pro Biden. We're like, how could you look at him? He's creepy and see what he said about it's, racial jungles and black kids and stuff. He's obviously probably pretty racist and he's creepy and he's sniffing kids. Like, how can't you see it? It's so crazy. I would never, I did not think, no, I didn't think that Trump was like this. I was just like, oh, you guys that support him. He doesn't even drink. Trump doesn't even drink, though. He might have a big mouth, but at least he says what he thinks. At least you know what he's thinking. At least he's not lying to us. Okay, he's already proven that wrong. He lies just as much as any other politician. They all lie. And I understand they simply can't keep all the promises they make. That it's just like impossible sometimes. But when they lie about like very specific things. Hey, Fendi. Nope, he's a part of it, Fendi said. I'm not on any SSRIs, been well. Why SSRIs? And for anybody that is medicated, there's nothing wrong with that. This world is so crazy and fucked up. I'm sure a lot of us need something to get through the day, whether it's a prescribed medication or something else you self-medicate with. 5 bad checks, writing hot checks. Isn't that larceny recycled lunch meat? I said it earlier, 2 misdemeanors tells me, like, we've all bounced checks before, right? But you usually don't get charged misdemeanors. But I can only imagine if it was like thousands of dollars, it would have been more than a misdemeanor. I don't know for sure. I didn't look it up. All I know is she wasn't in current legal trouble. It was something that happened 10 years ago. I would almost understand it more if she was, like, on probation, but even then it would be a little fucked up. Once again, like, if you're okay with ICE, you're okay with their tax dollars going through the records, looking for people that have been here for 40 years that they can, like, nitpick at. There's absolutely no justification for doing what they did to that woman, in my opinion. Besides, in my opinion, they have quotas. Oh, thank you so much, Kevin. You have such a quick mind. It's so interesting to listen to you, but it's hard to keep up with you. Thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate that 9.99. Thank you so much. I don't think you can slow it down while I'm live, but if you ever listen to my videos after the fact, you can slow them down. Thank you, Pyramid. Thank you. Hey, Keith, how are you doing? Um, it's just interesting to me. Could you imagine if Biden was having people detained for 5 months under his administration because of writing bad checks 10 years ago? You know, you would see it then. If you are sticking up for this, I know if Biden was doing it, you would see it. And that's what's so crazy about this. And you all know I'm right. You know I'm right. If Biden was implementing laws that were unconstitutional, that affected US citizens, because you can say all day long, it's illegal immigrants. If they're here illegally, they're criminals anyways. They deserve what they get. Fuck around and find out. When, play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. It's like can you at least come up with something else to say? It's a literal echo chamber. You all say the literal exact same things. Somebody trying to convince me it's the start of World War III. You don't have to convince me. Duh, it's the start of World War III. Isn't that obvious? You don't have to try to convince me. I don't think Trump is some 4D chess player in this third world war. Once again, if it was Biden, you would see him for the warmonger he is. And he is only greasing the wheels of the war machine for all of him and his rich friends that make a shit ton of money off of building weapons, off of war. And supposedly it was some billionaire, I forget his name, that told Trump Greenland is a great place. We all started buying up mineral shares of companies that mine minerals in Greenland. And people really seriously think that he's just trying to help Greenland because of China and Russia. Why wouldn't we just help Greenland if they were invaded like they helped us in Afghanistan? Danes, Denmark died alongside us in Afghanistan per capita in very high numbers. Anybody that wants to pull that bullshit that we need to take over Greenland so somebody else doesn't take them over, you're so brainwashed. That is not justification. They don't all of a sudden need us to literally take them over. Okay, we've already got military presence there. They don't need us to take them over. We need to fight for them like true allies, just like Denmark did for us in Afghanistan. I don't remember the exact numbers. Try to remember. I want to say 18,000, but I could be wrong. Hey, Jay Hardy, I'm glad that you're back. I love how you only read posts that support your views. Well, Matt, I don't only read posts that support my views at all. I do skip over a lot of troll comments. Mixing Adderall with Xanax again. No, that I've never had Adderall before, but I wish I had Xanax, especially after dealing with people that support Donald Trump. And I had one very nice comment from a woman that was so sweet to me, and then she did make me realize there are still good people that support him, like, I have to know that out of all the billions of people, all the millions of people here in our country. But, I mean, man, I don't religious faith and fervor, and I will never feel like that about any person on the planet. And I know it makes me like, "Oh, I'm better than," I just wish people so, yeah, I do wish people would protest for the release of the files and real, true justice for the victims. And I think that it goes so deep. If you guys haven't heard of Sasha Riley, and like trigger warning, you shouldn't look this up if you're like sensitive to child ABUSE cases at all. Okay. It's like the worst of the worst. It's as bad as it gets. Most people that listen to this stuff would probably think this has to be made up. This doesn't happen. This has to be made up. And I brought this up several times before. Boys Town in Nebraska. It's like another good example. Like several people came forward saying, they were children being taken to these parties with political people and other people. This, and they were basically, well, they were made into like liars. And then it came out more and more proof, and they tried to exonerate them. And then this one guy supposedly had picture proof, but he crashed in his plane with all the proof on him supposedly. So I always thought that was really suspect, and they always try to cover these things up. That was like in the 80s, and somebody did go to jail for fraud, and like they did everything they could to like smear it's just so disgusting, the reputations of the children that came forward, the young people that came forward. And I think that that is what, if Trump really was gonna help anybody, he'd do things that were longer than a year. Like, okay, the mortgage rate, credit card interest, that's great, but it's like 1 year long. Like, how is that gonna help anybody? Really? And he would do more for the American people. I mentioned this before. All the farmers around here took down their Trump signs, and these were people that had Trump signs up throughout Biden's presidency. So I know just by that action, I know I don't speak to a lot of farmers, but I'm telling you, there was one Trump sign that's on a building downtown in the town we live closest to. Same thing. It was there ever since we moved here, and people are disappointed in him. It's okay to admit, like, I'm disappointed, but it seems like some people there it's I don't know, it's a cognate okay, some people just truly do support him for whatever reason I can't wrap my mind around, but a lot of it is like true cognitive dissonance. They can't really, because if you believe the way some of us do, that you are trying to shield and protect people who hurt children, I would like to think that you wouldn't support him at all, that like that would be a straight it's like this guy I made content about, and I haven't lately because his wife is pregnant, and I don't want to stress out a pregnant woman, but this guy was a wannabe Amish person, looks like an Amish person, lives like an Amish person, but he's not Amish. And he's like tries to be a straight preacher sort. Was on Peter Santinello's channel. Biggest videos on Peter's channel is this guy Titus Morris. Then it comes out after he raised like $350,000 that he used to commit bestiality for 10 years of his life, and he's also been indecent around children several times, including having a 12-year-old present as his assistant during an attempted circumcision. And this man was taken to the hospital because he was bleeding so badly. And then nothing happened. And I always said this, and I always will. He, if he was a black man, he would have gotten convicted. If he was some big black man, not some skinny white man dressed like an Amish wannabe, the cops would have been called that night. But for some reason, even though it's well known, there was a 12-year-old boy present, it was like these things that people make excuses for people, and then people still make excuses for them. And that's honestly one reason I'm just super turned off from Christianity. Like I do believe in Jesus and the Bible. I will never consider myself a Christian. I don't want to be associated with people that make excuses for child predators. There was this church our neighbors wouldn't stop inviting us to, and we told them we didn't feel like there is a very small church, a convicted PDF file. I know I already said that word, and we didn't want to go there. And then she kept trying to like get me to let her take my youngest son alone, and we were like, no, we're not sending our kid to that church. And it's why so many kids get harmed in churches. I'm sorry. So many people are willing to just look past it. Soft white underbelly. A lot of his most famous videos are like Kentucky Appalachia people. And one guy is from Manchester, Kentucky. And he was talking about this guy that was a horrible person molesting kids. And he's still there in that position at the same church. And oh my gosh, I just think like how many people I think so many people are so used to it. And that's why they're so passive when it comes to the Epstein stuff. Where's the proof? There's literally millions of documents. He was convicted and thrown in prison, and then people come at me and saying that like, I need to show more proof if I'm going to allege his victims were younger than 14. I don't think people have the stomachs to handle the extent to which this goes. And it doesn't make sense any other way. Why would they be like, I've heard every excuse in the book that it's not Trump, it's Bondi, and that it is Trump trying to help. He's playing like reverse psychology by gaslighting us and telling us it's not that big of a deal. He knows that will make it a bigger deal. I've heard it all. And I don't understand how especially the way he talked about why are you still talking about this guy? When he said stuff like that, when they released the white binders that had nothing new in them, there's so many attempts at gaslighting. And I know that word gets thrown around a lot. That is a classic example of gaslighting. What he did sitting up there being like, why are we still talking about him? Why do you guys still talk about him? He's not that big of a deal. I'm like, no, this is a very big deal. We're all getting what we work for every day siphoned off of us, or, a good percentage of it. We're just like barely making it by living to survive. So these people have tons of money so they can have more power, so they can do what? Not all, right? Not all. I'm not trying to say like obviously enough that it is crazy how many people are probably implicated. Thank you for all the nice comments. I am going to start reading some comments. You can not even take a play card against No Country genocidal policy. Mirror Master, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly what you mean by take a play card. I am against what the no-no country is doing. That's what I'm saying. It's definitely, in my opinion, like a start of World War III. Everything going on in the world, and it is gonna suck if I mean, it comes down to if stuff really happens on our soil, then, it'll be anything but Trump's fault, though, right? According to some of you guys, there could be like literal bombing going on here. It's never going to be Trump's fault. But if like Biden was president and all this shit was going down, it would all be Biden's fault. I believe in Smith and Wesson, Dylan said. Um, what can you see in the eyes, Charles? I don't know what to take your comment as a compliment or not. It's always in the eyes. You can see it in her eyes. Trump is no now. All right, EC. So what now? You want to be Muslim? No, Patrick's. I don't believe in any religions. I'm definitely am spiritual and believe in a higher power, but I think that all religions that we have right now, I shouldn't say all, the main religions in the world are all created to control people and specifically suppress women. I don't believe, and I think Christianity might have even been different. There might have been more books. There might have been like female disciples. And somebody's always like, there's female disciples. You know what I mean? There's not technically like the word disciple. No, I'm talking about like, no, there's no female disciples. And you're talking about like the women that like found Jesus or something. No, that's not, you know what I mean. And I think that it was once we came from hunters and gatherers to more of an agricultural society and like more communities forming, there was like more of a need to control people. That's when certain people, and I'm not saying that's like all men, all like certain greedy men started controlling resources and like it, snowballs into what it is now till it's like simply unsustainable. And the world like implodes and everything renews and starts from the beginning again. And that's why there's so much proof that there's been so many civilizations we don't even know about. And if you didn't know, women were just as prolific hunter and gatherers. They just like assumed women stayed home more. I'm like, it's not true. It's not true at all. They've even like people always laugh at this, and they even speculate grandmothers were some of the most prolific hunters, which almost makes sense because we're one of three mammals to evolve to not be fertile the last quarter of our human female adult life. Meaning, most creatures are like, human males, it was like they're fertile until they die or they you know what I mean. They might be less fertile, but technically they are. And female humans, it's like one kind of whale and a kind of an elephant, I believe, or is it a dolphin? So it's like, why would people evolve? And we like shit on older women so much when really, like, it is the matriarch of the family that's usually the glue that holds the whole family together. The crown, the one with all the wisdom, that should be a revered thing, And that's part of why we're at the end of this shit cycle, which is they explain that in the Sumerian tablets too, which used to be the oldest like cuneiform stone thing. And this was like in 2015. It was like technically the oldest. They probably found older things since then. Sounds like you just live in fear, ma'am. I bet you don't drive a car either, seeing they get in accidents. No, Freddie. I love driving my car. I have a little race car. She's a Honda. She's great. Just got a oil change and new brakes, and she's literally like a brand new car. It's like 200 over 200,000 miles on my car. I love my car. I love driving. My first car that I ever bought myself was an '83 Firebird. You're probably not even still in here. It's just funny that you would say that. I got an '83 Firebird and I replaced the motor and rebuilt the transmission, and it wasn't a Trans Am, but I put the motor that would have been a Trans Am in it. Oh, it was so nice, 8-cylinder. And one day I would love to have another carbureted engine because I wouldn't want it as my main car, but that is like something that I really miss. I learned how to drive on an old Lincoln Town car. I love big old cars with big hoods, and they're just like so much sturdier if it's in good condition, of course. Like when I think about that Firebird, that thing was like a tank, and the doors, like how heavy it was compared to like new, and just they don't make anything like they used to anymore. The Egyptian Empire fell when a queen was in total rule, so I disagree. Okay, handle. This is what I'm talking about in the Sumerian tablets. Did I even talk about how it started off female dominant? I don't even think I said that, so I don't know exactly what you're saying that in reference to. One queen, one time. There's so many more women than that than once when it comes to all of Egypt. If y'all comments affected your income, how much would you earn by now? Keith said. I know it's funny when people make fun of me for talking on my YouTube when I get really, really good views for especially for my channel, and that's why they wanna make fun of me for some reason. It really doesn't matter. Evolution, never mind all the jabs you get, infertile and natural derpater. Oh, under God. Oh yeah, I'm not for preventative medicine. That's supposedly one size fits all because it's definitely not been for me. So I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Enough chat. When does the dancing start? You'll have to go to another live for that, Kev. Um, you're calling my face stiff? I do talk kind of funny, but I don't have anything injected. I've had a few people ask lately if I do Botox. I'm like, no. And I want to do, is that a compliment? I almost want to, that's yes and no. Male and female, God created them. God loves male and females equally. Yeah, I definitely don't believe it was just some big bang and this was all a mistake and things just happened because of like a crazy explosion in the universe. I think that it's more than that. But I don't believe that females were created from male's rib, especially when you take into consideration it's like mitochondrial DNA, that what comes from your mother is like how they trace genes. There's like so much, it's like it doesn't, I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense that like if you want to say one came from the other, that just does not make sense, and I almost feel like it was an attempt to this is a answer. Some people say there's a good documentary. I forget his title. Some expert, some guy that's a psychologist or something explains is at the root of misogyny, and that is that some men, not all, okay, and some women are misogynistic. So I don't know how to explain it with them unless they're infertile. But basically, men are jealous of the fact that women can give life, and because of that, it's a constant. I can't tell you how many times I've had every time I won't even talk about what I would consider like a red pill subject. You can't talk about anything without somebody saying, "Men built the world. Men do all the hard jobs." And it's like, "Okay, yeah, I do respect that. I'm grateful for that." But why is it never considered that women literally birth everybody? It and there would be nobody to do any of the jobs. Hi, Keith. How are you doing? People change. Some evil people become good. Keith, that is true. And there's always hope for change. In Paris right now. Thank you for saying 199. Where can you read Sumerian tablets? I will I need to find them. Like I said, it was 2015 and it was a Netflix documentary. I had this horrible dental thing and I literally at the time I watched like almost every documentary, but this is when Netflix was a lot smaller. Uh, is your car non-binary? I called her a she, Jeb. Definitely a girl. And my husband drives an SUV and that's her man. Rob Wilson, I'd eat. Oh my God. Hi from Scotland, Ditto Masso, Dito Masso. How are you doing if you're still in here? Does your car have? No, I don't like the no no country. And I don't have a problem with transgender people, but I definitely wouldn't put a transgender flag on my car. Shit, you're not all crazy then. No, definitely not all. Hi, also from Kentucky. Hi, Stellar. How are you doing? You're insane, but when you were young, you had love still in your heart. I don't know why you say when you were young. I've been with my husband since I was 18 years old. He met me right before I turned 19, and I still feel the same as I did back then. Historically, yes, female-ruled countries have more wars. Compassion and altruism, when it's not balanced, causes tremendous suffering and pain and chaos and war. Hold on, compassion and altruism, when it's not balanced, you're saying that women have like too much compassion. I had never seen proof for that. I know that's thrown around a shit ton. I've seen that a lot, but like, and if that was true, I would look at it as like, yeah, if there's 95, 99% male rulers and the oddball woman comes around, I bet she is on defense more. It kind of makes sense. It just makes sense to me as a woman who's walked through this world for 4 decades. Yeah, I'm gonna blame it on the men, I'm allowed to. Everything is a woman's fault, literally everything is the woman's fault. I'm not on coke, Adam Dixon. I have a fucked up sinus hole from a bad root canal that was chronically infected and led to a chronic infection in my jaw. I lost a lot of my jawbone and like it I would never snort anything up my nose. I would be scared I would open this hole up that I'm already worried people are going to think is from doing coke and it's not because I only did that a few times. Coke doesn't even snow doesn't even affect me. Like, I don't know my metabolism. I know it probably wasn't that strong or whatever, but like the very few times I did it, it wasn't worth it. I feel like the calm down more than the effect of it. And then just feel horrible. And I know everybody's different. I just never understood how anybody could get like addicted to that. But that's just me, like, because I don't feel good from it. Historically, yes, female. I already read that. Sorry, go. First grade logic, fellas, Keith said. Keith, have you been in here before? You, unless you are planning to survive EMP, no point of driving a car with a carburetor. Yes, there is. You've obviously never driven a car with a carburetor, if that's what you're gonna say. There is nothing like having to pump that gas and start the car and then revving the engine and I'm sorry, no, nothing like it. And I love my Honda and it's like a four-cylinder that's fast and it's quiet and smooth, but there is such thing as like too smooth. I borrowed a car once. It was a I forget, it was like one of those sedan Infinities, and I, like, didn't even realize I was going well over the speed limit. I'll never forget that. I'm like, "I don't want a luxury car because I would speed too much." Thank you for the nice comments. Oh, Keith, that's what I thought you were that, Keith. I'm sorry. I felt like you said a comment. I guess I took that wrong. You weren't talking to me, I'm assuming. But you know what? I never even thought that about the carbureted engine. That makes me want even more surviving the EMPs. I don't ever want a car like isn't it like cars from now on have to have that like kill switch? I'm gonna call it a kill switch. That's what the fuck it is. And they can be like controlled remotely. Hell no. I don't ever want a car that has the push button start. You can ask my husband. And he's like, even if you could get a brand new car like the kind that you have now, no, I don't ever want to push a button to start my car. I hate that. I've only borrowed cars like that too. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry if you have a car like that. I'm sure it's great. There's just something about I like the gear shift too. I don't I've had cars where it was like, the near the steering wheel. I don't prefer that. Anyways, um I just think that that's funny. Minnesota law allows officers to use deadly force, including when a driver accelerates a vehicle towards them. I have that in a video I made, Boss Devil Dog. Not trying to get anybody to watch it, but I just uploaded a video a few hours ago. My edited content, I'm not complaining. I need to get in the algorithm. One day I will, but for now, every little bit helps, and you'll see. I put together a compilation. There was this, I put detaining residents in this title to this video because there's like four videos in the beginning, or four stories, I should say, that cover stuff that I think is just a good example of overreach. And ICE is doing things unconstitutionally. And I feel like they planned all this. They let people come across the border in droves the way that they did. And we moved from a small town in southern Indiana that was absolutely overrun with immigrants. It had always been like a mecca for immigrants. People have guessed which town it is online when I talk about it. It is so bad. And like, when is ICE going to show up to that town? Because I'm sure there are towns like that in Minnesota, probably. I feel like there's probably towns like that in most states. And they were all over Minnesota from what I heard. Like, I do not agree with the constitutional overreach, and it's only okay to people because of how much they are like put out fatigued with the immigration things that have happened. And this is all by design. Like it it's pretty creepy when you think about it. And instead of hey Fendi, I want a Mercedes W140 S class. Those are built like a tank. Oh, cool. I bet I know what car you're talking about, but I don't know off the top of my head. That sounds nice. Yeah, I'd really like to have like an old I've always liked Camaro Super Sports where they're like 68, 69, like an old first generation Camaro or the third generation Firebird, like what I had. I almost bought an anniversary edition Firebird, it was beautiful. What was it? It's like the year is like 95 or 99 or something like that, and they're all like this beautiful champagne color, like, I would love to buy one of those. I do like the Firebirds from the '90s. Vets naturally aspirated, Ash said. What was the last movie you watched? Hey, Stone Papa Smurf, if you're still in here. Like Disney movies, Aladdin, but that's probably not what you were. I seriously don't watch movies. I tried to watch this movie. Thanks for saying cute big teeth. I used to hate my teeth. Um, I tried to watch this movie that was about like, God, what was it? People were like, you should watch this. It was human cloning or something. I can't watch it. It's like my attention span is ruined. And I know that I'm not the only one that is like that. I love your arm. Thanks, Ahmed. Fuel injection, James Kelly. The new engines are fuel injection, right? Or am I wrong? That's like a newer thing, right? And that's how like and the gas gets like mixed up and like watered down and it can cause like we had a Chevy Equinox that was like nothing but problems. It was a shame we got rid of it. It was just like nothing but problems. And anyways, politics is gay. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Keith. Good talk, said Keith. Thank you so much. No, Scott, you're not going to hear me queef. If I get stoned, I can watch long movies, Stone Papa Smurfson. Yeah, I want to try to go to a medical marijuana doctor sometime soon. I say that that means like within the next 6 months. How do you feel about the I'm saying that in my mind to think if that's like a dirty word saying it out loud. I don't know what that is, higher. I have no idea what you're talking about. I used to be well, actually, I've been pretty into politics for like 10 years now. I guess that's longer than I realized. I think that most people used to be, or at least like half of us used to be more like just not into it. We didn't keep up with it. Sam, do you go to therapy? Have you explored why you have these feelings, or are you just raw dog in life? What do you mean by these feelings, Sam? I don't know what you mean by, I don't know what I was talking about when you said that. Cadaver said, "How about Malibu?" Malibu Super Sport, is that's what it Malibus are nice cars. I really like the old am I thinking Impala is what I was thinking about, sorry. I really like old Impalas. It's really hard to believe there's so many of you people believe what this idiot is saying. Are you talking about me, Shorty? Just because people watch me doesn't mean they believe me. I listen to all sorts of people. I don't agree with everything that they say. That's what the problem with the world is. Like people used to be able to be around things that like they've conditioned us to not be okay and not listen to. And yeah, there's things that make me click off of people or unsubscribe. Like there's always a line we all have, but it's definitely some people are just so I'll never forget one of my first YouTube videos, I said something about global warming, and this person was like, "I was gonna subscribe to you till you brought up global warming." I'm sorry, I'm a gardener. There is no doubt, it's undeniable now. This was like 6 years ago. I think that person now probably believes in global warming. I didn't say that it's from cow farts. I never thought that. I never thought that we should have carbon tax credits like, the average person. Meanwhile, let China build a new coal factory every freaking month, you know? And then Holden, yeah, I have no idea what that is. In my healing service, I asked what would be beautiful for your life to be like to bring healing, Keith said. I want 2518. I don't consider myself a lefty. I've been a registered independent since I was 18 years old. And thank you. Yes, I actually got the shirt in the men's section. And whenever I see something like this in the men's section, I'm like, I'm sorry. It's fine if you want to wear it as a man. I'm not saying it's too girly. But like if it has freaking flowers and mushrooms on it, like one of my favorite sweatshirts I've worn a lot on here is this champion. It's like a really pretty, like light peachy pinkish with champion and cursive across it, that's a boy or men's sweatshirt. I just noticed, they have a lot of cool men shit. And like, I don't want to call myself a tomboy, but when I'm shopping for my kids, I find more t-shirts, looking for t-shirts for them, for my teenagers that I like than like in the women's section. Well, you can think it's lame, Alex. You probably weren't an 80s kid if you think it's lame. Because even though I don't like MTV now, MTV used to be awesome. And when it was around and it was the only way you could watch music videos, it's just so crazy to think about how much things have changed. Hi, Tactical Troll. I like your name. How are you? Alex is the punk. Yeah, Josh. I have to go to sleep soon. Well, I hope when you do sleep, you get some good sleep. Fuel injection being around for over 50 years. Okay, Crafty, that's not what I was thinking about. Well, okay, so what makes an engine not carbureted? You know what I mean? In my mind, I know I'm no expert, but I thought that fuel injection engines were what replaced carbureted engines. Or was that completely wrong? I don't know a ton about cars. I think I know a little bit, but definitely not like a car buff. But when I had that Firebird, I learned a lot. They didn't like calibrate things right, and I had to get like 4 radiators. The radiators kept blowing. Oh my gosh, there was a few times where that engine backfired, and I seriously thought it was a gun going off. I mean, after twice, I realized it wasn't that. I lost power steering in that '83 Firebird. I could barely move it. If you've never lost power steering, that shit's like serious. Hi, Minnie Mouser, how are you? Direct fuel injection. That's the difference now, Fendi. That's what makes cars non-carbureted. Carbureted gave power to the pedal, Keith said. I have a carbureted lawnmower, Texan said. Tactical Troll, you are right about carburetors being replaced by fuel injection. That's what I thought. Direct fuel injection specifically, because somebody said fuel injection's been around for 50 years, which I'm not. I drive a Chevy Cavalier. Oh, damn. My first love had like a 1983 Chevy. It was old. I think that's what it was, 81. That's funny. I hope it runs good. Every time I see a vintage car, it makes me so happy. I dropped my kid off somewhere where there was like this 91, some kind of Pontiac convertible. I can't think of the name of the car right now. Um, why are you famous? Who are you talking to, FC? I don't see any famous people. Thank you for saying you like my channel, Minnie Mouser. That's so sweet. It's like a dream come true. I know that sounds so cheeseball, but it really is true, you guys. I still take it, I feel like I take it for granted that I have a monetized channel. Like I don't, but I feel like I haven't done enough. And like the video I uploaded tonight, I really am getting better at edited content again. Like 6 years ago, I did it on a computer and like I just stopped and it took me a while to get, I'm really intending on like, I still want to go live a lot though, because it's fun. But I am just saying, Charlie Kirk. Everything's always changing. This realm heats and cools. We aren't affecting shit, Greg said. I know what you mean by the atmosphere. Okay, so but the temperatures are increasing, right? But like you said, we've had like mini ice ages just a few hundred years ago, like rivers that have were frozen over when they usually aren't and shit. Like I do understand it fluctuates. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to like blame it on humans or cows. I do think that industries play a part. I do think that there's definitely like, over pollution going on, but I have faith that the earth is a living organism that will take care of itself. I I just have to tell myself that. I have a crank truck, Valiant Stallion said. Valiant Stallion, I like that name. That's cool. I call my husband my Italian stallion. You guys probably don't want to hear that. Crazy liberal white woman fatigue. MJCJ, I'm sorry to hear about that. I hope something soothes you soon. I hope you find something that makes you feel better. Must be some life. I posted this woman a video of hers, Sarah Holcomb. She is a former Washington, D.C. reporter. I bet it would be easy to figure out. I don't know what it was, though. She said she worked for like the largest talk radio, something to that effect. You wouldn't know it, but it's owned and ran by Mormons, and I just thought that that was super freaking interesting. I had no idea, but anyway, she speaks a lot of truth, and she is I don't know if she calls herself an independent. She's probably farther removed than that. She's not on the right or the left. As I just was thinking how she has blue hair, and I'm sure it's just such a shame that a lot of people write her off probably like as some liberal. Not that there's like that makes you a bad person by default, but that is a shame. But I'm sure she feels like I would about it, like I do about my gray hair. Like if anybody's going to judge you by your hair, they're probably not somebody of substantial character, anyways. I drive 1952 Fargo, Valiant Stallion. I have no idea what that is, but that sounds so cool. 52. Wow. 80 some. Wow, that's so old. It's so crazy to think about. I saw somebody here on YouTube. I forget his channel's name. He's all about dressing like I don't even want to call this vintage, like antique style. What would you call that? Like from 100 years ago. And he bought a Model T. He had like some kind of pretty old car, but he said Model Ts are much easier to get parts for. Yeah, I know. This is just like a dining room table chair. It's cushioned on the bottom. It is comfortable. But I I would like to have a setup where I have like a desk and a computer chair one day. And honestly, we don't have room here unless I put it like right here where I'd have to like take the whatever. We'll work it out one day. In a moment, I'm going to core 5 and 1 as your abundance and resourcefulness flows with more with every healing breath. Are you meant you put one? I don't know. Eyes for the win, people keep saying. Thank you, Keith. Carburetors were replaced by throttle body injection, TBI, which was replaced by direct fuel injection. Thank you so much for saying that, Tactical Troll. I'm really glad you clarified that. Thank you. Convertible Fiero. Yes, that is what it was, Josh. Yes, I knew somebody was going to say what it was. That is what it was. And it was like bright red. It was just mint. And I saw a really old, like a 1990, maybe even 80 something Honda Accord. I like took a picture of it because it was like, I just love, isn't that funny? Like when we were growing up, I was explaining this to my son, like things in the 90s things in the 80s and the 90s were like dorky. I remember like scrunchies used to be dorky for a long time. And my mom, she did say so many things that were right. She really did. Like, she's right. She's right. She's like, fashion always comes back around. It comes in cycles soon. Everything that you think is dorky is going to be back in fashion one day. Because she would always say, I never thought bell bottoms, and like flares and wide legs, like elephant pants, elephant leg style pants came back into style. My mom was always like, I can't believe this. These pants are so ugly. I never thought that this would be a thing again. And it's funny now, there's plenty of shorts that are so funny where people are like pointing out all the things that are trending that used to be trending. I like money. I don't care who knows it, Texan said. That's a good way to attract more of it, we do need it. It's just about like the love of money when you put it before anything and everything. Nick, thank you for saying that. I watch your video, it's really good. Thank you so much. I spent a lot of time editing that and I think I finally like I know it sounds stupid. Once again, I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining. I was having trouble with like how to record things like, and what is it called? Aspect ratio. I always forget this word and like finally figured out what I was doing wrong and it's so dumb. You, ma'am, are a complete quack. Do you know where the term quack comes from, Brisky Brisky? Do you guys want to know? I love it when people say stuff like that. Like I've ever claimed to be anything but a stay-at-home mom that just talks and gives commentary and opinion. And I love people, and I knew that my passion for gardening and everything about Kentucky would be enough to build a community, honestly. Kentucky is so fucking great. And maybe sometimes I think maybe I don't want my channel to grow significantly because I don't want like a bunch of people to I don't think people would move here unless they would be a good fit. Most people here are ignorant trolls. Isn't it exhausting? Greg said. No, honestly, it's really not. I think I was made for this. Diesels rule. I've never driven a diesel engine, Gordon. One time I accidentally almost tried to put diesel fuel in my Firebird, and this guy, thank God this guy, he started chuckling. He's like, "Is that a diesel?" And I was like, "No." I'll never forget that. Um, I'm not just saying this to be a kiss ass, but I've never really felt like I had a man mansplain me. You know what I mean? Even in times like that where like they could have been like mansplaining. I don't know. I don't feel like that's as big of a problem as a lot of people say that it is. Our '88 Chevy 6.2 diesel was I don't know what EFI means, Josh. Pretty little bald head Caucasian woman? Bald head. I have hair. I need to wash my hair. When I get off of here, I'm gonna get in the shower, wash my makeup off. If you guys want to be a member, I did my makeup on my member. I'm sorry, it's such a joke because it's not at all like other women doing their makeup. It's nothing entertaining at all. Thank you, Keith. Kevin, I drink 2 quarts of maple syrup every night before I go to bed. It actually helps me sleep better. 2 quarts. Are you serious? You mean like 2 ounces or something? I've heard of people that have blood sugar, like glucose issues, eating a sugar cube before they go to bed. And I think that's interesting. If I eat sugar before I go to bed, I wake up hungry. But if I don't eat sugar before I go to bed, I don't wake up hungry. Fendi carburetors use mechanical vacuum to mix fuel and air in the intake manifold, relying on airflow for delivery. I want to read that again. Carburetors use mechanical vacuum to mix fuel and air in the intake manifold, relying on airflow for delivery. Yeah, I missed that Firebird. I tried to sell it and I couldn't, and I was moving. I had to get rid of it because I was pregnant with my first kid, and it was worth it. But the guy that picked it up, that I was like junking it. Hi, Randy, how are you? He's like, I feel bad. I'm only giving you like a few $100s for this. I feel bad. I'm like, yeah, well, it was like my only alternative because it needed to be like registered and shit, and I didn't have the money. So dumb. But anyways. I always knew one day I'll get another Firebird. Hi, Sammy. How are you? Direct injection uses electronic sensors and a computer to spray fuel directly into the cylinder at high pressure for precise, efficient combustion, offering better power economy and emissions. Cool. I so I guess I can say this. My brother is like really talented. He's one of those people. He didn't have to go to school for anything. He can work on cars and like the way they make cars now, it's harder and harder to work on them. That's another issue. They're not like mechanic friendly is what they call it. But anyways, he taught me a lot about cars. He taught me a lot of what I know about cars. And he's I'm just trying not to give away any identifying information. Yeah, I'm not. He doesn't work as a mechanic right now. I don't think he knows that much, but I got socks on the feet and a pocket in the pants. accent. I don't know why I'm getting such a kick out of that. That is so funny to me. My husband likes his socks. He's rarely without socks. I'm pretty similar, but not as much. Guys, remember to give her a like or subscribe. Nice, chill lady. Oh, thank you, Peppo Puppy. Peppo Puppy. Are you an antique bazooka? I feel like it. I'm 38, so I don't think technically. I turned 39 in March. If you know anything about the second lot, you know that God made the world to end by entropy increasing. Oh, entropy, right. It means there had to be a beginning and entropy will reach max. I'm sorry, Kim, what is lot? Second LOT. Can somebody tell me what that means exactly? I'm assuming you mean something to do with the Bible. LOT, that's gonna drive me nuts if you're not in here. Nobody tells me. $500,000 to spare you from a mama bear stare. Keep. You wouldn't know the difference between a queer and a fart, Scott, Greg said. Queef, he meant. Okay, I'm sorry. It's so funny. I need to not laugh so loud. A queer and a fart. Oh shit. This double wide with the, 1/8 an inch thick drywall or something. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, hide. I've accidentally made dents in this wall. I've never put a dent in a wall in any other place. I do have mods, Taryn, but I'm sorry to the people that it is annoying to. Let me see. Bear with me a second. If I can, oh, I just turned the lighting on. How do I do subscribers mode? I've done this before. I'll put it in subscribers only mode. And I want to say that I have it. Um, well, geez Louise, I cannot figure out how subscribers only mode is. I'm sorry. Oh no. I've turned that on before and not been able to turn it. A 49-second short was uploaded to your channel. Okay, it's unlisted. Oh, I turned the retouch on. Retouch off. Look, this is on, off, on. I'm just fuzzy looking. Off, on. Sorry. This is why I shouldn't I was muted. Oh my god, I was muted for a long time. I'm so sorry. Fendi, thank you. I am so sorry, guys. The microphone had to slide. Okay, I need to learn what these things. Oh god, this really bothers me that I can't do the subscribers only mode. I want to learn how to do that. People mentioned it earlier. They were like, I don't. I just feel like I've had, and not complaining. Like complaining is a strong word. I've just had a lot of people comment about it. Complain. Um, Sorry, I'm so sorry. I don't ever mess with the settings during a live, and it's because of shit like that. But yeah, it's really funny to me how people complain about people talking on a YouTube live. Like they're gonna like shame them. Um, your mom is pre-recorded. The silent battle said, I really like your mom jokes. That's one thing that will never get old. Don't put subs only. I helped you realize. Diesel, what do you mean you helped me realize? God is control of moving kings and nations. I hope so, Toby. I don't know. I don't know. Gynecology. I almost wonder if this isn't hell often. Gynecology is only a hobby of mine. But yes, I can read lips quite well, Greg. Shout out from SLC. I'm not sure where that is, but I hope you're doing well. Are you a VA? I don't think so. I don't know what you're asking me. Are my pupils different sizes? No, it's just my eyes are. My eyelids are pretty asymmetrical. Some days more than others, but see how like and it's like I don't know, it's weird. It almost looks like this eye you can see this eyelid more. Um, but yeah, I feel like it's from my sinus surgeries. If you weren't around earlier, I was talking about this hole I had from a bad root canal, basically chronic infection that was from a root canal that they didn't do right. And it is very hard for them to do root canals right. And if you ever have to get them, I would highly recommend making sure they use ozone to really disinfect what they're working on. And anyways, that's the best chance you can get. I'm no expert. I just went through a lot of shit. Confucius say, who flies plane upside down has crack up, Toby said. If y'all don't like her, why are you here? Yeah, I know, weed eater. I know. I don't watch people I don't like. And it takes a lot for me to feel compelled to say something. And I have been saying stuff on different channels lately about like Renee Good. Maybe I shouldn't bring that up now. You have very much beauty lips. Oh, thank you, Raj. I'm just gonna call you Raj. I do need to go to bed pretty soon. I need to wash my hair. Uh we have a septic that needs work on, and like everybody was like taking showers and baths earlier, and I don't want to use all the water to wash my hair, but now I do. You hear about the doomsday plane landing in LAX and it was being sent to DC. No, Fendi. I That's one thing about edited videos. And once again, I don't want to ever come off as complaining. I really don't. How did I even do that? I didn't know. What is going on? It's funny. Last time I did this, okay, I took this pretty picture earlier today. I should make it something sometimes. Come on. Okay. It was a really pretty sunset. See? And that's like our backyard forest. But not that I haven't dirty pictures, but like I worry I'm gonna like show something I don't want to show on the grace. I'm so paranoid. I'm always like, what if I accidentally click the wrong picture? Keep politics out of chat, people. It's not healthy for her stream. Oh, Peppo, I appreciate you. I know where you're coming from, but I'm the one that does it, honestly. I uploaded a video, so my channel's all over the place, but I uploaded a video today. It was edited on what I consider as ice overreach. And if you're okay with everything going on with ice, I mean this with all my heart. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm fine with you being okay with it. I just think people should be aware. And then, like 6 months, a year from now, we'll see how things play out. And we'll see if you're still okay with everything going on then. That's the attitude I have about it. I'm really not like chicken little, the sky is falling down. I feel for people that like, and I felt like that when Trump won and people were hysterical over it. I really did think okay, it was funny somewhat, that lady like screaming in the street. I think a lot of us probably laughed at that. But when people are like sincerely upset, like I don't know, I feel bad for them even if I don't agree with them. I don't want to see people upset, you know what I mean? The only thing you need to do is stay beautiful. I tried, Jacob. Name one resident. Steve, were you talking about my title? Donna Brown Hughes. She's one of them. There you go. I made a video with her in it. Her husband advocated for her, bless his heart, I believe. And I'm just talking, this is my opinion. I believe it was because of her husband going to news outlets, making so much, because they were talking about deporting her back to Ireland for up to 10 years. And I feel like it was a news week. And this happened months ago, like 6+ months ago. She was released last month after being in there for 5 months. That's insane. And if you think that's okay, legal resident, permanent resident, because of a morality clause, I mean, this is a slippery slope. This is the kind of shit, just like when the Patriot Act was made, and people said like this is going to be lead to like them listening to us on our phones and reading all of our emails and like people used to care about things like this, and it is an erosion of rights, and people were very concerned that Biden's administration would cause things like World War III and martial laws in the street. And what ISO is doing in the communities they go to, it is soft martial law. Okay. I'm not even going to say in my opinion, I don't have to. It's unconstitutional what they are doing to American citizens. Just because Trump made it okay doesn't mean that it is really legal, and it's up to like militia. They even have like some promise that's like it's up to them to decide that you not carry out unconstitutional orders and actions. There's so much. I could make so much content. I personally, I started to say this, it takes hours, hours, and it's always longer than what you think it would take. I spent probably 8 to 10 hours on the video I made today, which a lot of it has to do with me being half retarded when it comes to editing. I'm sorry if you don't like using that word. I mean it in the most literal sense, okay? Um, I take a long time to learn things. I have to do it. I'm smart, but at the same time, I'm not a good learner, if that makes sense. And a lot of it does have to do with my medical issues and like the heavy metals. I used to be smarter and retain things better. And now it's like I noticed that in the last factory job I had, that I would have to have people show me things more times than the average person, but they knew I was a good worker. And once I got it, it was have it down pat, you know what I mean? But then I would go and train somebody and I'd only have to show them to do it like once or twice and like stuff like that. If it was a plane that was built to survive a number war and it came out of being retired, think it's been 50 years. Oh, yeah, and I'm sorry, I should know what year this is, but Trump increased ICE's budget 50%. And I forget exactly what was it, the military 50%? And I know it grows every year, but like the amount that it is growing is like they're preparing for something. And if you believe that he's playing 4D chess and this is all good, and it's fine. That's fine if you believe that. But I don't. Hi, Robert. How are you? If she's from Ireland, she's not a resident, CJ said. Well, she had a green card. She was technically you have permanent residency as a green card holder. You just need to go renew it every 10 years. So she was valid. And see what I mean? With all due respect, CJ, it's making excuses for these blatant overreaches that changes like the goalpost of morality. I don't know how else to say it. I'm sorry, it's getting late. It's like we should all know better. I just think this should be a no-brainer. She was here legally for 40 years, here literally like 4 times longer than the amount of time she spent in Ireland. Our country is made of immigrants and natives that they genocided. Our country is made of people like her. You know how many people immigrated here from Ireland? Oh my God. I don't know, like half Irish and English. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact amount of Irish. Oh, more Irish, I think, than English, but it doesn't matter. Most of us are like that. And it's a blessing. It's really neat to live in a country where we're all like mixes. I think that that's really neat, you know? And I just don't understand. It's but it is very interesting. It really is, and I can't change you guys, but seeing so many people make excuses for the Epstein files bullshit, for the overreach, unconstitutional authority that ICE has on all of us by default, not just illegal immigrants. I understand if you want illegal immigrants deported. I do too. But, this is overcorrection in my opinion. Illegal is illegal. If you're talking about the late there's no illegals we're talking about when I'm talking about the woman. It's not a slippery slope. If you're illegal, you're gone. Bye, CJ said. It's you guys just don't wanna believe what's going on. It's legal residents. The other person, they didn't divulge their name, but there's a press conference about them that I have in my video that I uploaded too. And Greenland, I'm going to say it again because it's probably different people listening. If you believe that Trump needs to somehow save Greenland, you need to remember that when we were in Afghanistan, Denmark fought beside us. And I don't know for sure if it's Greenlanders, but it was definitely a lot of Danes lost their lives to be our allies in Afghanistan. Yeah, the least we could do is go help them a little bit if Russia or China. That's probably one reason why Russia or China hasn't tried to go take them over yet. Because we're right there. Duh. That's to be like, it's so if Biden, once again, if Biden was doing this, you'd be like, oh my God, he's turning into a fucking colonial dictator. What the fuck? This is 2026. But because Trump's doing it, it's okay. I am just so glad. Like, I never considered myself as a forever Trumper. I win those dart games every time, and whenever I play them at the fair, the dart balloon games. One time I won it, and they had this pink MAGA hat, and I almost got it because it was just so cute. And then I was like, no, actually, I don't want like a picture in existence. And now we have AI. Somebody could make one, but like, I don't want to even go there. That would be like an official going there. I got shit just for saying I didn't hate Trump. I was never like, Trump is great. Trump's going to do this and that, especially after he became a pharma salesman in 2020. And like, um, CJ, yes, they are legal residents. So now because somebody can't afford $50,000, it's just like it's the same thing. It's like worshiping rich people, not understanding this is turning into a technocracy. Trump and his billionaire friends want the mineral deposits in Greenland. That's why they're all buying shares in companies that mine there. That's what is really going on. And he thinks he can go in there and say, I'm going to help you guys because there are enough people. I'm sorry, he even said it. What was his quote about how people are so dumb? Or he loves dumb people. I don't wanna call people dumb, but it's like he is talking about taking over other countries, and then he said, like, Cuba, Colombia, like, are next. This is insane. I'm editing a video about, somebody that usually talks to me a lot, gave me a little toot about, you talk about sex crimes. Why aren't you talking about Iran? I'm like, I actually did have a video that was talking about Venezuela and Iran and some other things. And it's like, there isn't a ton of information besides like people are protesting. It's bad. They claimed several hundred, now it's several thousand. And I'm sure it is even worse than whatever numbers they're putting out, whatever they're saying. But, yeah, I think that I made a lot of people disappointed by saying I just absolutely don't support Trump anymore. In what clause of the Constitution? What are you asking me? In what clause, Tim, if you're still in here? Imagine saying illegal immigrants are legal citizens and being just fine with that. Imagine not being able to see the nuance between legal residency and a legal immigrant status. Imagine sticking up for a system that takes people who are here legally, going by the right channels, doing the right steps accordingly to maintain legal status. Imagine standing up for that because you can't handle the cognitive dissonance of actually admitting what an authoritarian overreach this administration has turned into. And you won't until it's, like, literally on your street and directly affecting you, and that's not a threat. There's there's always people that somehow think that I'm, like, saying something bad is gonna happen to you. I'm saying it will directly affect you one day. This is a country of immigrants. They took that person from New York City. New York City is 40% immigrants, man. They're trying to make a point. They're not trying to help us by taking away an old Irish woman that's been here for 40 years. How is that helping anybody? Because she wrote a few bad checks 10 years ago. And like I said, I get it. They were probably big enough to get misdemeanors because I bounced checks. Most of us have, but we didn't get charged anything for it. But I do feel like if it was like over 3,000, then it would be a felony. I know you have to steal like $1,500, $3,000 for it to technically be a felony, and it's different in every state. But, um, you don't have to be in here, Santos. But everybody that makes a comment like you did, "Please stop spewing crap, what a fool," you just help make sure there's more people in my live 77 minutes and 256 people at midnight, that's pretty good. And a lot of it has if you really don't like what somebody's saying and you want to make sure they don't have people listen to them as much, I would seriously get so much less engagement, so many less views, so many less watch hours, because that's one thing, lives don't pay a lot, but and I appreciate the super chats because of it. It was like lives really don't pay hardly anything compared to the edited videos, but the watch hours are really important. That's something you need to maintain, right? Right? I should know this. After all, I am a YouTuber. I can't wait till I go to do my taxes because I'm gonna need help. We usually do it ourselves, but like this, anyways, you are correct. And it doesn't matter at all what any conservative says, Tyler says. Thank you, Tyler. I hope you're doing well. Don't impede, don't get hurt. Light switches. Have you not? You must. I know that you might have just came in. This woman went to Ireland for a funeral, came home in the Chicago airport, was detained by ICE because she wrote two bad checks 10 years ago. it, if that's not enough to freak you out, I don't know what is. And I appreciate the 2026. Oh, that's nice. And I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't realize till I scrolled for that. How much I was Green Eye said, "You are delusional." That's too bad, Green Eyes. Have you ever heard the Coldplay song, Green Eyes, Green Eyes? Imagine running from a country claiming you are scared for your life and go back for vacation. Who said she was scared for her life? You got here's some of the like assuming really makes an ass out of you. And you really are some of the most like assuming. There's so many people like I've had interactions with lately that just like say so much shit. And I'm like, I never said that. I never said that. I never said that. I never said that. I like literally saying, like this one woman was saying, like, I said my son had profound autism autism stuff. And I was like, "No, I never gave any details about myself or my son. You have no idea who you're talking about." Thank you, Jay Hardy. That's you, isn't it? Thank you, Jay. I appreciate you. And like the people that say things, thank you, Josh, for the what is that? A GG? I didn't see what it said it was. A CG or a GG. I don't know what that means, but thank you. People that say things like "What a clown," "LOL, you got conquered, chief." That must be a line from a movie, right? Definitely seems divorced. Married for 16 years, Sean. We're getting ready to celebrate our 16th wedding anniversary. I got married when I was 22. What about you, Sean? It's just so funny. Like I was just saying, it's like emotionally stunted people. If you say things like "What a clown," da da da, I immediately think like this is like somebody that would take offense if that was said to them. And it's funny to me because it really this is why I built a YouTube channel mostly going live. Lying is what you best. Oh, putting grammar sentences together isn't what you do best, Dakeen. What have I lied about? I have all what I'm talking about, at least in the last several minutes. I have an edited video, my last edited video up. I forget what I It has proof of everything I'm saying, and in the description has a link to every video I put. Some people I put 2 videos of theirs in, and I might have only linked to 1 video of the 2, but I have links to every creator, every article I reference, like an article from 2015 that talks about how Border Patrol intentionally steps in front of moving vehicles sometimes in order to have an excuse to use deadly force. So much so it has been studied that is up there, 2014 or 15, I forget which year. So these people did this so much that they studied it because they realized there was a lot of deadly force being used with a lot of officers getting in front of cars. And they literally say in their some kind of manual, I'm sorry, it's in the video. It's like, you are not allowed to fire at a moving car with no exceptions unless the driver of the car is using some kind of deadly force against you that's not the car. Basically saying if they have a gun pointed at you, then you can use it. And I know there's all sorts of different rules and statutes and policies and everybody. And I added the one from Minnesota that Tim Walz signed in 2020 that talked about the moving cars and cops can fire at it even before it moves or whatever. I did add that because I can handle weighing both sides. But like honestly, no, I didn't put a lot of people arguing in self-defense. That was the one statute that I saw people who were arguing in self-defense of his or saying it was self-defense. And if anybody has any other statutes, I'd be interested in seeing it. But it's not as easy as finding one statute that sets all of case precedent, and then it comes to a federal employee and in the state, I'm sure they're going to take a lot into consideration. And that it's just really interesting. It doesn't mean anything bad about all law enforcement officers. I actually feel like it's such a shame because Jonathan Ross did a disservice to all the good law enforcement officers. They're all going to be eating shit because of him. The people that we should be respecting the most, that we do call on when we need help the most, like, they're the ones that suffer the negative repercussions. People like Jonathan Ross, yeah, I've said it before, I do. I think that he did it on purpose. If you know what a Honda Pilot is like, it makes no sense that it hit like the upper half of his body, okay? The whole car is like a big box and it's like straight up and down and so yeah, I have it lots of stuff in my video, but I have a feeling if you've already made up your mind, you've already made up your mind. You know what I mean? I not here to change people's minds, but I do want to document this. I don't think it's going to get any better. I don't think that they're doing everything they're doing to help us. I don't think they're going through whole states, terrorizing people. There is a high school. They went in while children were present. They're all children. I don't care if they're 18 or 19, some of them, they're children. And detained one of their teachers. These kids were super upset. I didn't play the most upsetting interviews where the kids were like very upset visibly. I did play a bit of this kid that was detained at Target. He was mouthing off. I give the whole story, okay? I said that woman was saying drive, baby, drive, and it was wrong for the people on the left to like, they kept talking over that or choosing not to add that. And it is very interesting when you actually have a mind of your own and you can be more from like the outside looking in perspective and take in both perspectives because you're not so angry and mad at whatever differs from yours. um some people may believe your lies and lose their life thinking ICE has no legal authority. Well, no, they won't. You should comply with law enforcement officers. I've never told anybody that they shouldn't comply with ICE. They need to know what is going on with ICE so they can avoid them. And I said this earlier, one of my kids is darker skinned than the rest of us. Their dad is he's one of those people that can tan really easily. He's a quarter indigenous. I never thought under any administration in my life I would fear for the safety of my husband and my son because of the color of their skin in United States of America. And if ICE came to town, I wouldn't want my kid to go to school. That's how bad it is because he's obviously Hispanic. And if you think that's funny, good for you. You must live a pretty blessed, easy life if you don't get that that's fucked up. I wanted Trump to win. I did not think that this is what was going to be happening. And if you don't think this is fascism, you need to look up the definition of fascism. Oh, Cleotio said, good luck, dear. You've got another subscriber. I appreciate that. Worse, I agree with what you're saying, but if you can't write English, it diminishes your point. Did I not write English? Or you're saying that to somebody else? R. Wilson said, I'm going to keep asking. Let me look at your chat activity. 100 people killed by Obama's ICE. Did you care then? Can you show us one tweet or post a text even? Oh, thank you for saying that, R. Wilson. I never said that Obama was a saint. No, but this is the difference. And it is horrible. It is inhumane. We should all be aware of like that's part of America. Like, there should be basic human rights always, right? Uh, this has never happened before in this way, where we are being directly affected as citizens. I'm pretty sure those deaths were probably mostly in detention facilities or while being detained. That doesn't make it right. But it's never been literally door to door. They're going door to door in Minnesota. Yeah, the same people that people often die in the presence of for whatever reason, for many different reasons. They're literally going door to door. We're all subjected to it. Like there was a woman who ordered DoorDash and our DoorDash driver was being tracked down by ICE. And then the DoorDash driver ran into the woman's house all scared and shit. And I'll say this again, shame on that DoorDash driver woman. I know she was scared and everything, but I don't think it's right to put somebody in that situation. And I would be mad at the immigrant person. Honestly, that is how I feel. It'd be like, you're putting me in danger. This isn't the Underground Railroad. You can't once they see you, they know you're there. You can't run from them. And I'd be like, get the fuck out of my house. And like this woman didn't know what to do. And I really felt for her. She had a toddler and she's like, I have children. There was an ICE agent that had his hand on his gun, walking around her house. They're talking to her through the windows and the doors. And she was on the phone with the local police department. And she said, I don't feel comfortable. They have their hand on their gun. And this guy lies. I hadn't had my hand on my gun. And she's like, I've been filming you this whole time for several minutes. You absolutely have had your hand on your gun. That shit, they don't need to have such strong intimidation tactics, okay? It's been studied that Border Patrol agents put themselves in front of moving vehicles. If you can't let that sit for a little while and think this is a possibility, it has happened before, it will happen again. Is this a case of that happening? Was this guy so fed up that he decided, because he already knew the laws well, especially because he had been dragged by a car, he already knew very well that a car can be considered deadly force and under what certain circumstances, even. I don't doubt that this could have been, and I know things, and I put this in my clip too, a law enforcement officer saying we can't really put ourselves in the shoes of somebody that's there for seconds. But the same law enforcement officer also said they are trained to never, 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 ever, ever get in the front of a car with a person behind the wheel. You just don't do it. You don't even get in the direct path behind it, but definitely never in the front. And there's this I show a few different things. This one was Border Patrol policies, and like this was found on a Reddit thread, the document. And then the Reddit thread was full of people who were in all sorts of different positions and saying they had done training, they trained for like the same thing. Everybody was saying the same thing. They drilled it in your heads. You never get in front of a car. You never get in front of a car. The fact he was already dragged by a car tells me he should know these rules like even better than anybody. And that one guy that did have his hand on the car, that was against protocol too. I'm pretty sure. When will you get a mind of your own? Mark Tupper said. I'm pretty sure I have a mind of my own. I don't know how many people, I'm the only person I've seen say they were both wrong. They both put themselves in front of deadly weapons. And I still don't think that means she deserved to be unalived. Her girlfriend was agitating. She was agitating. I still don't think she deserved to be unalived. I don't try to take away you know, the details. I feel like a lot of people, seems like all your opinions are so left, you don't respect debating. That's not true, Roy. I don't know how long you've been watching me. I consider myself a pretty independent person with I used to lean towards the right, but I can't really say I lean towards any side that a lot of people stick up for a pedophile. I think Trump is one. I think he sticks up for them. That's my opinion. And he at least is trying to cover for an elite ring. Look up how many innocent people died from immigrants, raped, and you're defending them. I'm not defending them, Roy. What a jump. I couldn't imagine making that leap. I'm defending the average American who is here legally from, they just need to know. I'm not defending. I want to spread awareness about the unconstitutional overreach. And people like you only add more fuel to my fire and like more this is needed. People didn't, you're gonna like misconstrue my words and say stuff like that. I can't really help you anyways. And if you actually say something, Roy, I would love to debate and go back and forth. You see how people say things like, when will you get a mind of your own? Whoever is speaking has a gross shortage of education and experience. Whoever is speaking, my name is Lydia Keith, Minnesota State statute. I believe that's the one I put in my videogram, Mickey. I already talked about it, the one from 2020 that Tim Wall signed in that said that cops can shoot at a vehicle even before it actually starts accelerating. That doesn't mean a clear cut case dry. He's good to go. You found one statute that works in his favor. Unfortunately, law doesn't work like that. That would be nice. I'm sure lawyers would love that. There's a lot more statutes that are like absolutely never. You literally never ever, unless they've got a GUN pointing at you, literally. You step, if you can step out of the way of the car, then that's what you do. And he clearly could because he basically did, because he like got grazed. He put himself in front of the car. And so whenever people are like, she tried to hit him, how do you explain how after he incapacitated her, she veered off 180 degrees away from him and to a parked car because she wasn't aimed at him? Or did she turn the wheel after he shot her? No. Mm, So it is. evident. It's like whatever you want to believe. It's just like 2020 all over again. You want to, it's either or, black or white. The government is here to save us. They would never do anything to hurt us. They want us to try this preventative medicine because they're good and they're here to save us. Or absolutely not. I will never take that, and there might be, nano chips in it, mark of the beast, and I don't trust me, I'm not making fun of that, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. I was injured by one in 2009, so 2010. It was a 2009 flu shot. She was just trying to get rid of her stock now that I know about flu season. It was fucking February. Anyways, don't blame you for keeping your kids at home, Josh said. Yeah, I haven't yet, but I'm saying if there was ice in town, I would. I homeschool my youngest still, but he's not 10. Yeah, you cheated, girl. Billy Goat, I cheated. Are you talking about my husband? No, no. Grim Mickey, Minnesota State. I think I already read that and I already responded. Maggots can, okay. You're giving the impression that ICE is acting illegally. It's unconstitutional, which in my opinion that is what it is. And everybody's making excuses for it because they think that the only people affected are illegal immigrants. And I really wish it worked that way. I really wish I was like Rose Nyland level of naivety too. I really do. Because ignorance must be bliss, man. To really know what's really going on in the world and that pedophiles run the world. The sickest people you could think of have the most power and the most money, therefore the most power. To really know that and to see everything for what it is, it's not as pleasant, I bet. Is your husband or son breaking the law? Well, no. My kid is such a good kid. He really is. Um, I could tell you, I don't want to, I try not to talk about my kids as little as possible. My 16-year-old is one of the best people I have ever known. I'm not just saying that. I'm really not. Regardless of whatever side you're on at the end of the day, it's tragic. I agree, Chris. Exactly. It doesn't mean that I don't support any law enforcement. I don't support this overreach. I don't. I don't support them going to a gas station and surrounding somebody based on profiling them, what they look like, and the way that they are with their guns. Even if you aren't doing anything illegal yourself, I feel unsafe. I would feel unsafe in their presence. There's a video out there with a man who slipped on ice and his gun discharged. So I'm guessing he probably, like, had his gun in his hand? I guess no trigger safety? I don't know what's going on, but I wouldn't trust them with my dog. That's another thing, we have big dogs. You know how cops are with dogs. They kill dogs every year. They kill, like, hundreds of thousands of dogs every fucking year. Oh my god, I can't believe imagine how they act with my boy dog. He's half Great Dane, half Neapolitan Mastiff, and he's fucking crazy. If they just came in our house, he would be growling and barking nonstop, and you think that's a good thing, but he wouldn't. No, I'm not saying this to sound cute. It's not cute. He wouldn't stop. I know he wouldn't. His name's Rocco. And I know the way that huge dog barking and growling, they would shoot him so fast. Children have been shot and killed. Breonna Taylor in Louisville, there's always some dipshit racists that want to justify her death. It was completely unjustifiable. That should not have happened. She was training to be an EMT. She was a good person. We all lose out when people die too early, like all these overdoses. I'm sure most of you, I'm sorry to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm sure most of you know people that have OD'd. I have too. Hearing that they closed down the border, the first thing I thought about was one of my friends that OD'd. And like I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. These like such horrible things. It's like nobody can make me feel bad about anything because like every day, and I had a hysterectomy, like I narrowly avoided one of the worst kinds of cancer a woman can get. If you didn't know, I had to deal with this shit for 10 years before I got the hysterectomy. And I'm just now, 9 months later, really realizing that like I probably won't get cancer. There's still a slight chance. But anyways, it's like I'm less high risk, not high risk. But anyways, there's so much shit going on in the world that like and I think what I went through is like nothing compared to what so many people go through and oh, Mr. Carey is in here. Thank you, Mr. Carey. Anything can happen with a weapon, whether it goes off or not. That's can't happen absolutely, but usually cops aren't fumbling around with their weapon unless they need to draw it. Right, John Woods. I know. Good point. Good point. The pointing it at people. Like, and I mentioned this before, there was this Cops Talk Live, and it was two, I believe, retired law enforcement officers, and they said the same sentiments. Like, you are taught to never go in front of a car, man. That's like, it's almost like the way I read it and interpreted it was like when you are learning GUN safety, asked my husband earlier, I was like, "What is it that they say? You don't point it at anything unless you want to kill it." And he's like, "Destroy it." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." That's you don't aim a gun at something unless you intend on destroying it. And I've noticed a lot of these ICE people, they do what a lot of people did to me and my Firebird, and they'll like come up to people with a flashlight and like shine it in their faces, and they know they're blinding people. And a lot of it is to evade them recording them. ICE officer after ICE officer, several examples, okay? I only put one in my video I edited and uploaded. Several ICE officers saying things like, "Didn't you learn a lesson?" And I'm sure you either get how fucked up and creepy that is, or you're cheering it on. And I was just like, this is Nazi Germany shit. I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I'm saying this is fascism. I never thought I would say that. I wanted Trump to win over Kamala. I thought he was the lesser of two evils. I thought she was the fascist one. I thought Biden might ring in World War III. I thought that too. And if he was doing any of this, if these were ICE officers under the Biden administration, then people would see it for what it is. But I hate to say this, I don't want to speak for other people, but then it would probably be people on the left that are calling it out. They would be talking about why it's okay. It's just insane how the divide and conquer has like worked out so well. And Amish people, the way that they've stayed completely out of government and politics, they don't join the military. Anything can happen with I read that. Um, Hundreds of thousands of dogs. I said hundreds or thousands, guys. If I did say of, I misspoke, but I'm really sure I said hundreds or thousands because I saw the statistic that said, I'm not going to say how many thousand, but I was thinking, I need to verify that. Is that true? Because I was talking about a case from, oh, I always get to mix up North Carolina. North Carolina or South Carolina. This dog named Zelda, she was at home alone. This sheriff was there to like serve them or something, and he just let himself in because they had a ring bell camera or something like just on their door. He lied and told them that the dog bit him. Or hold on, I guess I don't know for sure. Whatever. Wouldn't he have evidence? This dog was behind a baby gate and it was barking at him, and you can just hear like you can hear how the dog sounds kind of far away when you're listening to this man, the sheriff shot the dog to death. They won't charge him with anything. They basically just like let him go, and people are making a big deal out of it, trying to figure out because like most of the time they do get away with it. I had cops call the dogs on me and scratch up my car. They're not supposed to put their paws on the car, but they were doing that, and they were having them like sniff us like while we were in the car, completely against protocol. I'm related to a cop. So I went home and told him about how the dogs were literally and he's like, "They're trained in aggression. They're not supposed to be anywhere near you. You're supposed to be out of the car when they're sniffing the car." So, anyways, they just do whatever the fuck they want. Now, we've all been, I shouldn't say we've all, I've also been in situations where cops really helped. Like one time I had a flat tire. You keep defending illegals. How am I defending illegals? And spend no time talking about American safety, period. Yes, I am. I'm talking about American safety because they should know that there's thugs out on the street that call themselves ICE, Roy. Am I defending illegals at all? All I've ever said about illegals is move from a small town in southern Indiana that was absolutely overrun by immigrants taken the resources. 50% of children didn't speak English at schools, and I often wonder how that plays into our like illiterate ratings we've got going on now. So many kids can't even speak English when they're taking these tests and shit. I don't know how that's defending illegals. Um, Resident equals yes here legally. Johnny has a brain. An acorn falls, a train comes, paralyzed from negligence. Same old stories. Paradigm. I don't understand that. She won't answer me either about what is unconditional by ice. She said it's her opinion, though. Not sure opinion and laws go well together, though. What is your question about ICE? Gen X boomer, yeah, learning healthy coping is lacking in our society, obviously. What is unconstitutional about what ICE is doing? It's complete unconstitutional overreach, no due process. When you get snatched up off the street and there's absolutely no due process, no clear cut due process, that's like what our checks and balances, system of checks and balances is based off of. And it might be fine for you when it's illegal immigrants, like we're supposed to treat everybody on American soil the same way. But I do understand if you're like, well, fuck the illegal immigrants, just ship them off to wherever after what has happened this last several years, because that's what they want you to think. They want us to all be so fed up with it that we, put everything in the same basket and say, like, yeah, fuck it, fuck all those people. They, overtook my hometown. But yeah, once it starts affecting Americans, and there's plenty of stories of American citizens. The girl that I uploaded the shorts about recently, talking about harvesting 300,000 pounds of rice, I found her because she was talking about being detained by Border Patrol when she visited here. I honestly didn't think there was this many racist people until recently. That woman that was calling the little boy the N-word and raised $1 million overnight. Okay. I thought the racists were dying out and there was like an old person thing. I know there's some people always, but like I didn't think there was as many racists. And now I understand why people just assume there's like so many racists in Kentucky and the South, because there's just so many good for nothing racists. Alita, that isn't the situation though. Yes, it is, Alita. I made a video about it that has all the, and everything I have in the video is in the description as far as links to the videos I have and the articles I posted. Bro, I wouldn't trust any American with anything I fucking own. Are you not American? Michael, as many people here that flooded our borders to the 10 of millions, it's is overloading our system and a place to help people in need. I agree, Michael. So I do think that there was something that needed to be done, but I think this is an overreach. And in my opinion, they designed this all on purpose. They knew that like they would let people flood in, and then there would have to be this like overcorrection that would erode all of our rights. I don't know what I was gonna say, erode all of our rights. I should probably go take a shower and wash my hair and get in bed by 1 a.m. Yeah, so I feel bad for the dog. Also, the Labrador, Brain Undead said. Hardy har har. They need these morons to step up in police use for a few hours. Their opinions will change quick. Trump port, you guy. That's funny that you said that. Did you know that there are IQ limits for law enforcement officers often? I'm sure there are for ICE. I guarantee you they don't let people that join ICE have like above like a 80, 85 IQ. I'm not kidding. You can look it up. I'm not being a dumb bitch. And there's this guy, I need to repost his video. This guy made a great video about it just recently. So yeah, it's just funny you say, and yeah, we do need people. Okay, so there was a business owner in Memphis. He just put a sign on his door that he didn't want ice in there. There was like dozens, and I don't understand how anybody can look at the scene and think this was justifiable use of taxpayer money. There was like National Guard, Memphis Police, and ICE. Dozens of each of those, maybe a few less police, dozens National Guard, dozens of ICE. Do they have nothing better to do? All that manpower, and you're using it to harass a man that had the audacity to put on his door that it's a private property, and he has every right to. It's America. This security guard at McDonald's got them to stay the fuck out. It was great. He's like, no, private property, no." And he stood his ground. He did a great job at it. Everybody should watch that fucking video, see what's going on. You can sit there and wait at McDonald's till the employee you're casing leaves or something. Obviously, you have nothing else to fucking do. That's how I feel about it. They don't have to be going into public spaces and putting us all at risk because obviously they're fucking trigger happy. They do have hate in their hearts. And it would be a very hard job. I don't think you should take it. And I think giving the $50,000 bonuses and what have you only incites more of this. It's like a bad economy. There's bad players that can't wait to go take it out on somebody. Everybody wants somebody to blame. And I do blame the illegal immigrants for a lot of bad stuff. Is that a reason to think all of what's going on right now is okay? No. I don't see how you can't understand that. Asking me how this is unconstitutional, taking away people with no due process. We live in Minnesota. We've kept our kids out of school because of ICE. Our kids are indigenous. No, Pino, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope things get better for you soon. And do you have, if you're still in here, do you have any input on like Minnesota and why? I don't, okay, that was way far back in the chat. I hope you're still in here. I feel like Minnesota, there's stuff going on in Minnesota. I don't know if there's minerals there that they want. I mean, I know there are a lot of minerals there. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I made a live shortly talking about Janus. It's a ancient Roman god, one of the oldest gods. Thank you, Lois, for the floating heart. That's nice. Um, It's a two-faced God. One face is it's like, front and back, two-sided. One is looking towards the past and one is looking towards the future. And it symbolizes like new beginnings, new endings, and the time when peace goes to conflict and chaos. Oh, thank you. The 100 crazy. Thank you. Crazy fucker. So yeah, basically, as strongly opinionated as I am about certain things, I mean it with all my heart. I have more love than anything. I love everybody. I even love Roy. I love the person putting the laughing face at me. I don't fucking care. When you really do feel like you're all connected, and I think that our souls work in funny ways, and like there's at least part of us that like literally goes back to the same source. Like energy never dies, it just changes form. It becomes less orderly. And I feel like when you die, you go back to the same place, and we're all essentially from like the same place and connected on that level. So whenever I see somebody like acting like completely goofy or something, I like literally think about myself when I was that juvenile or that stunted. And I'm kind of like, oh, that's kind of cute. Like when somebody's like, her eyes are too far apart. I'm like, oh my God, that takes me back to when I thought about things like that. And that's pretty funny. And I can't even take you that seriously. Somebody said that to me earlier, and I'm like, I know I am not DEPRF. That's what me and my sister would call it, DEPRF. It stood for Dear Eyed People Rule Forever because we loved Gwen Stefani and we noticed that her eyes were kind of far apart, and we're just like being goofy and saying, like, she's so beautiful. It doesn't matter. She looks like a deer. Yeah, because deer eyed people rule. And I think about that juvenile version of Lydia that would say that shit about people. Yeah, that was about, I was what, like 12 to 14 years old. Who cares about if someone's eyes are closer together or farther together, whatever, they look the way they look, who cares? Yeah, John Woods. I think people, I mean it. I think most people have a beautiful trait, at least one. And I zero in on that and I see the beauty in people. I don't walk around looking for the flaws like some people do. Once again, very like juvenile way to think. And I think they've stunted a lot of people. And that's what's going on with like the socialization. I think about men and women, okay? I think women act like fucking juvenile because of social media. It's weird. Some women, not all. Um, it's called growth, babe, Cleo said. Let them get due process in Somalia, Lee. I understand if they're illegal. I really do. Okay. And legal immigrants feel the same way. They work so hard, they pay so much money to do it right. Their first act when crossing our border was breaking the law. Okay, Jack. And I'm talking about people who didn't do that though. That's what I keep focusing on the most. And like the high school students who were traumatized by ICE raiding their school. And like one high-speed chase ended in front of the school. I know that wasn't necessarily 100% ICE's fault. I don't know if they could have made better choices with that. But like they went into the school, took a teacher. These children were bawling over how I was like one of their favorite teachers. He's one of those teachers, he's always got a line wrapped around, waiting, kids waiting to see him after hours, whatever. And been released since. So obviously it was all for nothing. Don't tell me. And I hope I'm wrong. I mean it. I'm not saying I'm God. I know for certain. I feel with all my heart, though. I really don't feel things this strongly usually. I woke up with the feeling that I usually only get like after my car's been shot at or something. That happened once. Like where I get angry and I don't mean that in like a rage kind of way. It's like this very low, like what are we gonna do about it now? Like, gotta do something about this now. I don't usually feel like that. And like, this angers me on a certain level that there's children being harassed. Those boys at Target, they did say fuck you over and over again. Yeah, they did. I don't think that these people, it's a bad comment. And I brought up the Stanford prison experiment in my video. I want to do a whole video on that, talking about that and how it relates to this authority that we're giving these people. When you give people authority over other people, it quickly goes wrong. And the Stanford prison experiment is a great example of that. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, there's plenty of YouTube videos about it. But basically, it was students. I don't think any teachers participated, right? And they made some of them prison guards and some of them prisoners. And I believe they had to end it early. And the point is, they were being so inhumane to the prisoners. It was like creepy. And, anyways, thank you, crazy fucker. Minnesota here. Jesus was a refugee. He said, treat the stranger like you treat yourself, RBB said. Are you talking about like illegal immigrants, RBB? I really do, like, admire that mindset, I mean it, but I just think about, like, my grandma came from Colombia, and we just can't help everybody that needs help, unfortunately, you know what I mean? Like, we've got to have borders. Uh, we will turn into the country everybody's fleeing if we don't, um, but I appreciate people that are true Christians that really do love unconditionally, like, I really do appreciate that, and I admire that. When I see someone else do something, I instantly think about myself straight away. Matthew William. Yeah, when I see somebody that does something that's incredibly silly, that's aimed at me, that's supposed to make me feel bad or wrong or something, yeah, I immediately think about, wow, they must be very stunted, just like I used to be. And it's the same kind of mentality when you feel like you're connected, like when you really do feel like we are one, it translates in so many great ways. And it's like when you really are truly happy for people, I love it when I see a woman that's happy with her career, a woman that's built her life up, and that's like the opposite of my life. I am so genuinely happy for that woman. And it's very slight. I'm not saying it's a big reason, but a reason is because I really do feel like we're all experiencing things together. And I believe in reincarnation as well. So I'm always like, well, if this didn't happen in my lifetime, maybe I resonate with it because it has before, or I'm meant to later. I'm a vampire, Nicholas. Can you give us your address? So we can send some illegals to your house to protect Gen X Boomer. Like I said, I moved from a town in southern Indiana. I've always been outspoken about it. You can find a video on my channel that's like 6 or 7 years old talking about how I don't believe in illegal immigrants, something about illegal immigrants. I privated a few. I forget which one is up there, but talking about this shit, like my grandma from Colombia, like she had family members die from the guerrilla warfare. Nobody in my family was ever like, why isn't America saving all the Colombians from this guerrilla warfare? It wasn't even a thought because you just can't, you know? And, that's where I was coming from with that. And I also think it's really silly how people got so mad at, uh, Kelly Osbourne for saying, like, "Who will clean the toilets?" 'Cause it's like the same people that are like, "The crops are gonna wither away and die." I think that's fucked up to have, like, slave labor and to pay people less and, like, say, like, it's a good they'll work the jobs nobody else will work. That's not good that they are paid so much less, though. But, like, to say they'll wither away and die, the crops in the fields, and then, like, get mad at somebody for saying, "But who will clean the toilets?" That was just really funny to me. But I don't know if that video is unprivated. Um, but that's why I like making YouTube content. We live in Brainerd, Minnesota, which is a lot smaller than Minneapolis. ICE is all over Minnesota right now. I heard that no panoply. I'm so sorry. Lovely TTV, she lives in Minnesota. She's a I believe maybe she's not a native. She lives in St. Paul, I believe. She made a good video. She had a good live. And Lovely T, she's pretty balanced. You might not be able to take her if you can't handle anybody that doesn't think exactly like you, but she really isn't. I've been watching her for 10 years. She was never like, TDS, what people would call TDS, like somebody on the left that really hates Trump. She's definitely called out Trump's bullshit, but she's really good and informative, and it's, like, very news-like, but it's also really funny and great. She One of her sons is friends with one of the boys that they took from that Target. I'm still not sure if he's been heard from since. There are some women that act very juvenile, you are correct, and because of social media, I agree, John Wood said. Yes. I just feel like there's women that would be better, if it was, like, 20 years ago, like, I don't know how to say it, like, their character. Cleo, people who walk and men too, don't get me wrong, it's like men and women, we're all getting worse. People who walk around looking for flaws are worried that others will see what they are personally hating themselves for. Yes, Cleo, I agree. Thank you, Mr. Carey. RBB, no illegal people on stolen land. I understand that sentiment too, RBB, I really do. Like I said before, it's like we do need borders, in these kinds of civilizations, but I also understand that. It's funny to me. It's not funny. Okay, it's not funny. There's a lot of natives, a lot of indigenous people that are being mistaken for Mexican. I smile when I say that because it's just how ignorant people are. There's a family member of mine that's like half Mexican by marriage, and there's funny there's like four ethnicities she's been mistaken for. People are so silly. They don't seem to understand, and I've talked about this on my content before, that Hispanic people are half native. That's what makes them Hispanic. It's the Spanish mixing in with the native population. And it's funny how that doesn't click in some people's heads for so long, including myself. My husband is a quarter indigenous Mexican, and I always called him Mexican for years. And then just recently, I'm like, you're not fucking Mexican though. He is a Yaqui Indian. And you can look up Yaqui Indians. He really looks like that. And I'm like, we need to quit calling you Mexican. Not that there's anything wrong with being Mexican. I'm not saying that at all. Like I'm trying to evade being married to a Mexican, having Mexican children. It's just a shame that you know, there was no box for me for until 3 or 4 years ago. And then I wonder how that plays with the statistics, you know what I mean? I guess the census probably always had a million boxes, and that's all that really matters. We understand about illegals, we just shouldn't deport them because it's sad. Billy Barnes, if you're saying that, to me because you think that's what I think, that's not what I think. But it is really interesting how people hear me talk about how legal residents are being detained unlawfully without due process, and this is concerning, and ICE agents clearly have an axe to grind, and they're not safe people to be around. How that turns into rah, rah, illegal immigrants. I want you to stay. When I keep saying I do believe that we should deport illegal immigrants, I think that they probably have plenty to go off of. And I wonder, this is all my opinion and commentary. I'm not lying. This is just commentary. Why are they going after people like the woman who's been here for 40 years from Ireland for misdemeanors going through? That really scary. I don't know how to explain it to you if you don't get it. A morality clause? So now people can get kicked out of the country because they deem them immoral? This is crazy. I don't I don't understand how that translates into I want illegal immigrants. It's them using that, your proof of how they can use that to commit so much overreach. Oh my God, y'all need to start wearing helmets. Y'all sound so brain dead. Virgil's downfall said. That's the thing. People that never been to America pay taxes to America, and MAGA cries over it. Yeah, Zanatos. I just saw something about that earlier today. It was a specific state. I forget which one. No, land has been stolen, John Wood said. Yeah, I do understand. Even Indians warred and fought over land, right? But the colonialization, the way that white people tend to go to other nations and steal their resources, that is undeniable. How am I a fool, Santos? I would at least like to be told why I'm a fool, you know? Even better, say something in response to something I said. Have an actual response, an actual rebuttal. That would be great. But notice how people can rarely do that. And if I missed yours, you did have one. Please forgive me and comment again. I'll look at your comment history. Please, I jumped a line of people who are trying to do it the right way to become a citizen. Right, Michael, I agree. All land on earth is stolen from someone, Jacob said. Legal immigration is fine. Just don't stop chasing drug dealers just because it's at school, Will said. Well, I think if they know that this teacher works at a school, could they not track him down any other way? I'm sure they could have found his home. I'm sure they could have at least caught him at the beginning or after school hours or something. In my opinion, they do this on purpose. I don't see any other reason. They're doing this to make us all afraid. I hope I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I really sincerely hope I'm proved wrong. In a few months from now, we're all glad that ICE did what they did and they're not committing martial law in every state in the country. I really do hope that, guys. But we'll see. Agreed on the fool comment, Billy Barnes. The biggest fool are people that would sit around being like, what a fool, what a fool, what a fool, and sit here and watch. You know what I mean? That's the only fools. I'm sorry. Stanford prison was a fail, Vit said. Are you talking about the experiment? We live in a town that is extremely small. I already read that. Oh shit. How did I? I'm looking through the chat. A lot of hate watchers, pitiful people. Guess when you're so full of hate, they have to spread it around. Yes, Lois, I agree. My grandma came from Colombia too. Cool, Greg. My grandma was from Cali. Jesus didn't say the government should take your money and give it away, Wilson said. I don't have any therapist, Mushy. I've had a few before. Everybody could benefit from therapy. Oh, it's so funny how much I get called emotional, and, like, this morning, I saw in the chat somebody was like, "She's gonna cry," and I really wasn't gonna cry. Sometimes I am on the verge of tears. Usually, it's when I talk about my dead friends, okay? Like earlier, talking about the OD stuff, yeah, I don't cry. I think I haven't really cried on hours and hours of streams, but I was just, like, getting heated talking about these ice things, but I wasn't near crying, and I saw somebody in the chat, "She's about to cry," and that also, like, made me laugh later thinking about because it's the kind of thing you kinda have to laugh at it. The kind of person that would be watching somebody they don't like and be like, "She's gonna cry," like, hoping that that happens. Um, yeah, it is a Trump supporter. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep saying it, and I know that there's good people out there that still support Trump for whatever reason. I know it has to be. Mean where he got billions of dollars for the speedy rail train, and we have to go no speedy train where all the money go, millions and billions of dollars is missing, John Wood said. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but yeah, we should have high speed rails by now. Like all of our trains are like such old technology compared to most first world countries' trains. Um, I'm not going to read that. He also spoke about the same people taking over and living under them. Please read the whole book, please, Billy said. John, and what about the billions of dollars, 18 billion just to help homeless situation in California is worse than it was before. Oh, it's only going to get worse and worse too. These people are so out of touch as elite class. They think $20 an hour is $100,000. I know that was just one guy on Fox News, but how could you think $20 an hour is $100,000? Okay. It's like when you multiply positive and negative numbers. Spear Tony, yes. Hello, Platinum Arena. How are you if you're still in here? What's the first statement of love thy neighbor? Here's some help, love thy God, bit said. We live in a town. Okay, no Pino. I don't know if you're making the same comment over and over again, but I feel like you are. I did read it once. Reincarnation, really any proof of these wild claims? Simond, you want proof of reincarnation? This is you can't make this shit up. Just like earlier, I had somebody say that I was brainwashed, and then he said, "Almighty God bless Trump," right after saying I was brainwashed. I'm like, "Oh my God, you literally can't make this shit up." You want me to prove reincarnation, Simon, because I said that I believe in it. My proof is all the near-death experiences I've heard. That's my proof. And I just feel like it's probably true. And I think that there's experiences that can't be explained any other way, like how somebody gets knocked on the head and then they know a different language, or some kids just like know things that it doesn't make any other sense, uh, any other way. And I know that's not proof, but that's the only thing I have to tell you, like why I do feel the way that I do. I think that there's more. There's hospice workers. I follow a doctor who used to be a hospice nurse. She said she's more than confident. This isn't the only realm, and that makes me feel better. I was visited by my grandma, so I do believe there's an afterlife, and I just don't think that we stay the same and we end up in heaven for eternity. I just don't. But we might. It's never a pretty process righting the wrongs of other individuals. If you want to blame somebody who bust them in. Life and times of Johnny and Joe, but two things can be true at once. And I do think that what the Biden administration did was horrible. It was. But I think they're two sides of the same coin, and they did that so they could ultimately usher this in because things are only going to get worse, guys. They're like making it harder to be a nomad, harder to be homeless in a lot of situations. Like they're cracking down on people every way they can with the AI data centers and everything. Life is only going to get more expensive. It's only going to get more difficult for more people. And now at a time when like in the next 5 years or so, people might really start to be like creating civil unrest because nobody can afford a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk anymore. You know what I mean? It's only going to get worse. And the wage stagnation is so bad. Yes, there's always been inflation, but never in conjunction with wage stagnation for 40, 50 years like it has been. It it's insane. And because of the worship of the elite and like it, the wealth distribution is so off ever since COVID in the last 5 years, it's only grown. I do believe in free market capitalism, but we didn't have free market capitalism when they didn't let anybody but Walmart stay open. Not fluently, my cousins don't either, but my dad and his sister's grandparents all speak Spanish, Jack said. I wish I could speak it better, but I don't. Some other guy, JD Vance said they're gonna start going door to door. He literally said they're gonna start going to door, and then there was claims of it after that by people that live there. There's like news stories on it. And that's what I worry about. Like the people that aren't breaking laws, that aren't here illegally, being negatively affected. Nobody feels good with people with huge rifles, you know, going through their home. So tell me, what conservative news agency do you listen to? I listen to all sorts of stuff, John Woods. My favorite people tend to be like more independent, like me, like Anomaly and Sabby Sabs. They're like centrist. Anomaly leans towards the right. I watch, the main things, which I know are just propaganda machines. Keith, thank you so much. Thank you, Keith. Uh, the big corporations like Fox. Alpha News, that's a right-leaning news. I believe they're based in Minnesota. I've been watching a lot of things from them. I like Sky News Australia, probably the typical right-leaning things that most people listen to. I used to watch Megyn Kelly religiously. I used to watch her a lot, and it was before she said that weird shit about they weren't really young girls. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get back in the chat and then I'm going to go soon. So if there's something you really want me to say, something you really think you're gonna change my mind, you are an idiot. We need to spend our taxes on American citizens and not illegal immigrants. Yes, John, I agree. It's unfortunate we have to spend so much now to get them out, but it's just like so when Trump brings up giving 57,000 Greenlanders $100,000 each, keep in mind that would mean giving up universal health care. Or I hate to say it, but it better if they're going to be a part of the United States. Like I hate to say that. But you know where I'm coming from. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to want to do that. And yeah, it'd be nice if somebody talked about like, throwing us a bone sometime. It's like everybody else gets I shouldn't say bailed out because I do feel bad if people are like suffering in Venezuela. I have 3 kids and I have never been on food stamps. So then there's nothing wrong with being on food stamps, Shanda. I think that's really interesting that of all questions to ask, all the questions in the world. You asked me, have I ever been on food stamps? I was on WIC. And WIC, it was so hard to use. And I remember being so frustrated. I stopped getting WIC after like a month or two because it was like I never got like the right size of box of cereal. You know what I mean? It was always like this big hassle at the checkout. And that was 18 years ago, believe it or not. How about you look at the cost of the restaurant? If you pay your employees $20 an hour, then the average price for McDonald's will go up and nobody will go there for shutting down the business. Once again, how are you taking that from me saying it was funny that somebody thought $20 an hour was $100,000 a year? I don't know what leap you just made, Edward, but this is so the way people's brains function, man. It's like these same like few talking points, and one person says something that slightly triggers something in your head, and you're like, I don't think this woman owns a business. Otherwise, she would understand the simple economics as a business owner. What did I say for you to say that, Edward? Did I ever say that all businesses need to pay a certain amount? I never said that, Edward. I said that wage stagnation is really bad. Do you disagree? That's so funny. Wage stagnation is really bad. It's getting to the point where these people that have big companies, they aren't going to have nearly as many customers because none of us have any extra money. I think they already know that. Basically, the top 10% of earners are holding up our economy right now because most of us can't. I'm sure you're the same. We can't spend any extra money on anything. If there's a birthday or something like that come out, we've really got to like plan. And usually one of us has to do a little bit of extra work, like with Spark or Instacart. I used to DoorDash, can't DoorDash anymore since they started letting illegal immigrants do it. I have no doubt that they're probably telling ICE where the illegal immigrants are, or like they might be working with DoorDash because I had to stop door dashing because they literally were sending me nothing but like $1, $2 orders. And I'm like, who would take this? Somebody that literally has no other option of making money otherwise. DoorDash has known for years that illegal people are doing DoorDash and they could do the face scanning thing like more often. They do it like when you first sign in. So all you have to do is like live with somebody or be with them like when you sign in initially, and then you could work the whole shift or whatever. It's um, I don't I'm the same way. I don't like going to my small town ATM and having to press English, you know? I I'm in a small town in Kentucky. I shouldn't have to press English at the ATM. And I have owned a business before, Edward. I made weighted blankets for years. Y'all can't find it. I made sure there's not a trace of it left, but I was the second person to start offering weighted blankets on Etsy. First person to offer them for under $200 for small children. I made them for 60 bucks for what most people were charging 200 for. And because of me, I made hundreds, if not a few thousand, weighted blankets. Oh, it's hilarious making weighted therapy products for autistic children to sleep better. That's so funny. I'm sure you're the kind of people that probably make fun of people on the spectrum too. And they're cooler and smarter and better than you, and probably know more about more than you do. But I definitely appreciate small business owners. It's the people at the top. It's like hospitals didn't used to have so much administrative costs. They didn't have people that were siphoning off. And like, I don't think nurses make enough. And it's like because the people at the top of the administration are making a shit ton. The CEOs are making so much more. I have a shorts that's pretty far down on my community tab, but there's like a significant difference. And that is what is happening. There's a wealth distribution. I'll say it right now. Elon Musk is an idiot. He's not a genius. He's literally an idiot, and if you think he's a genius, you're fooled. He hasn't invented anything. He takes other people's patents and puts his name on it. He made it when he bought Tesla a prerequisite to put him as a founder, even though he didn't found it. If you're here legally, then you'll have papers that it caught them more to keep them here. I don't know what you mean by that, Mark Strub. Roy, I see more negative things about your opinion than positive on here. Does that tell you anything? Ooh, Roy. No, it doesn't tell me anything other than there's a lot of people who are really lame. There's always going to be people that don't agree with you. But the way that Trump supporters act, like the way that they do shows me that they're acting off emotions more than anything. And they can't, like, literally making mental gymnastics over the fact that there's people that are legal residents here being detained. Our tax dollars spent traumatizing an older woman for 5 months being detained. If you're okay with that, then be okay with that. That's fine. It's the people that can't stand somebody thinking something different than them. Take your makeup off so we can see your face. Pay for a membership. I just had my face bare for like over an hour on a members only live, and I put my makeup on. I barely wear any makeup too. You can ask my members. They saw me. I put a little bit of powder and put concealer under my eyes, a little bit of powder. Wondering about your experience. Why is that a funny question? Well, Shonda, my experience encompasses so much more than whether or not I've ever been on food stamps. Me and my husband are almost debt free, just so you know, Shanda. We own a car outright. We have a lot cheaper bills than most people because we became homeowners pretty early on. And that's one thing I want to promote is like being debt free, living as cheaply as possible, and getting, no matter what it is, getting something that you own. Your policies make illegal immigrants the victim, but American safety not important. Your policies, so now I'm creating policies, Roy. Roy, you've been in here for like an hour or more. You must really like it. Or you must have like literally nothing else going on in your life. I still can't get over what you said about an education cap and police hiring. I still can't. Yeah, it's IQ cap, Trump. It's you can look it up. It's very easily verifiable. And I'm not saying that happens with literally every single police district, precinct, police sync. Oh my God, I told myself I was going to be in bed by 1. Thank you, Keith. I still can't get over. Okay, I already read that. You're just repeating yourself, actually. Oh, that's unfortunate. I don't like the spamminess. I don't think they charged anyone yet. Last time it took me 5+ years to get any release resolution from being scammed. Moonshiner, how are you doing? Idiots don't have that much money besides lottery winners. I'm sorry to hear that, Moonshiner. Leave her alone. Who cares if she's wearing makeup or if she doesn't wear makeup? Who cares? And I think I have lives where I don't have a makeup on. I can't think of what one it is, but I think it's obvious I'm not one of those chicks that like contours my face and does like the special effects makeup where I literally have a different face. I didn't even my eyebrows look fucked up because I didn't do my eyebrows like I usually do. Because I didn't want to do that in front of people on the members only live. Hey lady, I have a weighted blanket idea. What does that mean, secret owl? She barely has any one mascaras, all she has on, you guys, dang, Star said. Yeah, I use oh, I put it up. Bare Minerals. I use like liquid right under my eyes. I have really fair skin, yeah, I have a lot of correction to do. But other than that, I just use powder all over and mascara. So boots are on the ground in Iran. I suppose you are going to cry and protest about that now. No, Glenn Paul, I'm not going to cry and protest about anything. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not going to cry about things. Why are my eyes dead looking? I don't know, Ron Rifle. Why don't you show your eyes? For being an idiot, somehow Musk has found a way to be a billionaire. Seems more smart to me. No, it's just the end of times, that's all. I think it's a great example of how this is the end of the world. The fact that I'm sorry, excuse me, Musk is the richest person, or supposedly. I don't think we'll ever really know who the richest person at any one time is. I think those people probably want anonymity, but he is an idiot. No engineer would work with him. He even said himself, no good engineer would work with him. None of us could read books, call ourselves an engineer, throw that title on. None of us could get away with that. What is this fucking Abraham Lincoln shit? Nobody can say they're an engineer without actually getting the education for it. But a rich white man from apartheid South Africa, he's a fucking loser. He is. And the way he acts, even if you think that he earned what he has, the way he acts now should be enough for you to be like, what a fucking loser. And he promised the Hyperloop, it never came to fruition. He promised self-driving cars that still haven't came to fruition. He promised those taxis that hasn't happened. He promised that like 75% of things being shipped by semi-trucks would be shipped by Tesla semi-trucks. That doesn't happen. Tesla semi-trucks can only ship potato chips. I'm not making this up. You can't make this shit up. This is like an episode of The Twilight Zone. Some people worshiped him and thought he was so great when he's a clearly a racist, dumb fuck. And it's also proof that money doesn't buy you happiness. I think most people know that already, but it's like it does make you happier to not struggle, which most people do. No, I don't still make them secret owl. I could. I have my sewing machine right beside me. I want to get into sewing again. But weighted blankets are a lot more difficult than you think. If you want to go make one for yourself, it's just imagine putting the weights in and then having to shake them down every time, and then you have to like hold the weights back as you're sewing, and then a lot of times you have to like tuck it under your chin. It's a lot more work than you think, and I understand why people were charging as much as they were after I started doing it. And I'm not emotional about anything except a really good cheeseburger or pizza. John, that's funny. No, I'm not a transgender, Jimmy Gonzalez. Here's the trans trolls because people are basically saying men are ugly, I don't know. Some of the most beautiful people I've ever seen were intersex people that could pass as either. They have like the best bone structure, in my opinion. Damn, you talk a lot. Sorry, too much for me. Pretty but annoying. JK, just too much for me. Well, there's a bunch of women that are out there for you to just look at, David. Thank you for saying I'm pretty, though. I like drinking beer sometimes too, Lorraine. Like once a month. Timothy, wait until they find out you have to fail a polygraph. What? Musk comes from emerald money from daddy. Yes, Greg. And then he tried to lie about it. He's such a douche. All the stuff he's tried to lie about, they kicked him off of like that thing, that precedent in PayPal. They were like, we don't want you here. Go away. Thank you for the floating heart, Chad. Um, mm, Chad. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I said that right. Is she bigoted against intersex? Weird. I just said intersex people are some of the most beautiful people in the world. How is that bigoted, Joshua? People have no critical thinking skills. Keith Whitcliffe, what is three generations? If he was dumb, he wouldn't be the owner of two big companies. Matt, you can think that all you want. I think that he's worked so little. I think most of you guys that are sitting there sticking up for Trump, it's safe to say, I would bet money that most of you guys that stick up for him have worked more. I keep calling him Trump, have worked more than Musk. He hasn't worked. He literally took his daddy's money and he was lucky about where he put his money at, and he was in the right place at the right time. Um, Alanis Morissette won a shit ton of money off of Apple stock, right? Is she a genius because of it? It's like, I think she would even say, like, she was in the right place at the right time. Yeah, that's great. Any one of us had a daddy like Trump or Musk, and we'd be able to make shit work. Any one of us had the springboard of a millionaire father that could give us hundreds of thousands of dollars at once to invest in startup companies. We'd all be succeeding, more successful. Okay, there would be exceptions. But I'm saying if you think that he is a genius, I just wanna know what he's done. He literally hasn't done anything. He slaps his name on patents of like the shape of batteries. Thunderfoot is a great channel on here. The foot is zeros. The FOO is F00. He's been making Elon Musk videos for like 10 years. I used to like Elon. I used to think he was great when he bought Twitter. Maybe I'm corny. I think Elon treated Grimes wrong and ruined her. Poppy and her really did a lot for music circa 2017. Those were the day me and China. My sister likes Grimes a lot, and she's played her music in front of me, and I did like it, but I've never like listened to it on my own. I think that that was really sad what he did to her too. And this is just my opinion. We're just talking shit here. He did what he did with their oldest son, right? Where he like keeps, or used to at least, keep the son away from Grimes because he was a little mini me. And he's such a fucking narcissist. And narcissistic parents, once the child is old enough to think for themselves, usually around the age of 8, ask me how I know, they aren't so cute and they aren't such a little pet anymore. They usually don't love having them around as much anymore. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I think that he looks at him as little protege. And I think having so many children and favoring one of them is so fucked up. Like just the rest of the children. And he has a transgender daughter, the way that he talks about that in public, I just think it's gross. And he signed off on a lot of it, like the medical transition or whatever. I don't know the details, but the fact is he says that he was tricked. How does the smartest man in the world get tricked by that? You know what I mean? And I do have empathy for parents in that situation. That must be a tough place to be in. Um, Racist lost meaning with a bunch of other words. I understand that, Krusty Krab. You can feel that way. I understand that. But I have been realizing how racist people really are. The white-only towns, the Shiloh Hendricks, and money will help make you happy, and only people who want others to suffer or never had money like to say, Killer Potato said. Yeah, it's only, you only need as much, that sounds so dumb. You only need as much as you need. Hey, frog physics. You know what I mean. If you have enough money to live, then you are as happy as money can make you. Having excess money really doesn't make you super happy. I don't think you understand what intersex is. Mandy Lee, what is it? Explain it to me. Intersex is a bunch of different conditions. It can be a bunch of different things. But essentially, it means people that have both traits of male and female. Mm. Intersex and trans are entirely different things. That sounded really ignorant. I'm saying that people who are literally part male and part female are some of the most beautiful people. So I don't understand why people think automatically that calling a woman trans, insinuating that she was biologically a male. See, I'm sorry. I know I sound awful. I know I do, but you guys can't fucking think. If you can't understand what I was saying, it's like I said, it's like you're saying that men can't be beautiful. And actually, some of the most beautiful people are the people that are a little bit of both. I wouldn't mind if I was, but like then you saying that is like there is so many intersex things being brought up in defense of transgenders and shit. I'm not the first person to do it. But you would be surprised. There's a lot more than you think. And I think we should be sensitive to them. They must have it the hardest. Or I shouldn't say that. But imagine how it must feel seeing all the trans shit constantly, like being one of those people. Get off the air. You are annoying. Santos, I know you've been in here like a good hour. So it's really funny. So this is how I look at it whenever like manifestation isn't just saying, I want this. Please, God, give this to me now. I want it so bad. It's like, thank you, God. Thank you for giving me everything that I need. Thank you for always giving me everything I need. This is great. And every time I see trolls that say stuff like that, I do the same thing. Is any nice comment. It's like the same. I don't even think about it. It's just like a muscle memory. It's like a reflexing in my head. I'm like, oh, thank you for choosing to point your shit at me. And I'm like, nice, but I also picture golden light, and that's my orb that of like shielding strength. I know I can't talk right now. I am gonna go soon. But it's like it literally whatever, and I want to say this for other people that might want to do YouTube or do YouTube lives, and like, how can you handle these trolls? It's like written manifestations for the last time I gave birth really helped. Like, if you say the same written affirmations will help so much if you really stick with it. It sincerely will. It really will. So I have the same. things I tell myself to think every time somebody was a troll. I don't even do it anymore, but I still get the same feeling as when I did. So it's funny. Is she bigoted against? I already read that. Why do I go down and then it goes back up somehow? Token intersex person here, and I would die for my trans friends, V Storm said. Well, I hope you understand where I was coming from, saying that I think that people who are, have traits of male and female are some of the most beautiful people. I don't know a lot. I shouldn't say this. I know this is like stereotyping. I'm just seeing a lot of them as models, but I don't know how many people are intersex walking around either. So I shouldn't say I've seen a lot of them. Um, that was back to your cops convo, didn't it? They said no such thing as intersex. Oh, go. Um, get a husband so you're not worried about shit like TG. I have a husband. I've been married for 16 years. My husband's asleep. Elon Musk knows a good businessman surround himself with good smart people, and that's what he's doing. That's the key to his success. Yeah, leeching off of other people, definitely. I'm just saying none of us could get away with saying we're an engineer and then get government contracts. You think him and Bezos saw, like, NASA couldn't fulfill all the contracts, that's also a sign of the end of times, and then, like, the richest men on the planet are like, "Oh, we'll start building spaceships now." It's fucking wild. Do you know Henson Creek Outlaw? Yes, Kenneth, if you're still in here. I don't like that guy because he threatened me. He's a loose cannon. I'm a friend, Lydia, always will be. Opinions are to be debated constantly, Keith said. Yes, I welcome anybody that doesn't think the same thing I said, of course. He also paid others to take his college exams. Kaz, I wonder how many people do that. I knew somebody that used to write college papers for people. And it's like there's people who go through their entire college career and never really write something themselves. The people saying intersex people don't exist have siblings for parents feast. None of them people built anything ground up. Lorray gets it. Lorray Bojangles can think for themselves. Yes. Thunder fell off really hard. How so, Joshua Kelly? Moonshiner's honor tea and Blanky sounds great. Simon said, "Oh, are you going, Moonshiner? If I missed you and you said bye, I want to say bye to you." I don't know where he went. Moonshiner, maybe I'm corny. I already read that. Or hold on. Did I read that? Yeah, the Graham's comment. I must have missed it. Intersex describes people born with natural variations in sex characteristics, chromosomes, hormones, genitals, reproductive organs that don't fit typical definitions of male or female. Thank you, Mr. Carey. Existing outside the strict binary. There's so many conditions, you guys. There's so many. And there's actually this one I don't want to misconstrue it at all. But you would be surprised. There is one, I believe, now I'm gonna say it, Cass. It's like you are a biological male, but you present as a female. There's so many variations. Just imagine in one multiverse you are president, in that timeline's Trump, in another you are Elon LP. That's what I feel like. Do you guys think that we switched timelines? Something happened around 2012. That's why I think the Aztec calendar, how it ended, was like the end of something. Obviously, it wasn't the whole world, but it's most likely a power grab. Although, wouldn't someone want respect? Money does not buy that, but actions do. And people have respect either way. So maybe not a lot of questions. Maybe it is Beehive said. I think ISIS too powerful, but with less power, it would be um, a better liked organization. Some other guy. I think that they could do better. I really do. And it doesn't make any sense to me other than they're trying to instill fear in people. And I don't think it's just because they're like I keep saying this, and I do this is like a controlled demolition. I think our unsustainable systems were already rotting from the inside out long before Trump. And I feel like, but is he taking advantage of this controlled demolition time? It's just crazy, the shit that's going on. And I can't speak for you guys, but if you did support him, I wanted him to win every time he ran. If you did support him, did you think that he was gonna be talking about taking over Greenland and Cuba and Mexico and Colombia after Venezuela? It's unprecedented what he did in Venezuela. And I don't have any good answers to it. I'm not saying I know what exactly should happen. He is smart enough to own all these things. A lot of people have money and don't do anywhere near the things he did, Killer Potato said. But I feel like he does a lot of what he said, so people like you will say things like you just said. He wants the accolades. He hasn't done anything. He really hasn't. And at least there are people like him that are driven by their ego to take their wealth and help promote what are essentially other people's ideas. I will say, yeah, he lends to innovation because he is interested in being known and he wants to seem like he's smarter than everybody. I don't think he actually cares. Mercy would be like helping, especially the country he comes from. He doesn't care. His grandparents decided to move to South Africa when they started segregation. That doesn't mean he has to pay for the sins of his ancestors and he's exactly like them, but it does say a lot. I'm sorry, that says a lot about you. My grandparents immigrated here in the 50s from Switzerland and Colombia to get master's degrees. They loved my Colombian grandma marched in civil rights marches in the 60s, late 50s, 60s, whenever. 60s. How does it feel to be brainwashed and ignorant? All the things you say make no sense at all, and I pray one day your brain matures enough to properly process information. God bless you. Okay, Knowles Bradford. All right. Stuff like that. Absolutely no substantial anything. You cannot like Elon, but the truth is he's very intelligent. His knowledge of rocket science is amazing. Secret Al, do you okay, but are you okay with somebody being able to call themselves an engineer without the education? Because I'm not, and having a bunch of money shouldn't make it okay to claim a status. Thank you for that, whatever that was, the makeup on and the floating heart. Thank you. I'm sorry. I I'm never gonna get caught up in chat. Thank you, Cameron Brown. Greenland is rare for rare earth metals for our chips. I agree, Will. No, I agree. I mentioned that. A lot of billionaires are buying stock in companies that mine there. And I do believe that's what it's all about. We're not trying to help them save them from China or Russia. Once again, I'll say it again. Danes died alongside with us. Very high, like per capita, a lot of Danes died in Afghanistan because they're our allies. So if Greenland was ever attacked by China or Russia, the proper thing to do would be to simply go over there and help them out. Maybe build up more of a military presence than we already have there. But to say take them over completely, the only no, this would never be okay with me, no matter who did it. And if you're okay with Trump talking like that, that's what I'm talking about. TDS has mutated, and it's gone from people who are on the far left, and now it's infecting people on the far right. Venezuela is the only country that leads in oil production mineral composites with direct ties to CNR with short range access to our shores via missiles. Taking Venezuela was a smart move, Dylan said. Yeah, I understand really